Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Power Hour. If you haven't seen us before, episode 1 is up right now. It's a bit of an intro to us. I am Jordan, and that over there is my friend Luke. And we just decided one day that we wanted to create a podcast and talk about some wrestling because we're big wrestling fans. You may know us from our gaming-related YouTube channels, where we talk about gaming every single week. But this is a little bit different. We like I said, we wanted to do something a bit different. It's been Wrestlemania very recently.
It has.
And it was a good time, I think. It was a good time to be a wrestling fan. So we just decided, why not? Why not jump online, have a discussion about wrestling, and then release it to everybody?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we can't start a wrestling podcast the week of WrestleMania without talking about WrestleMania stuff.
Yeah.
That would be a bit silly of us. I just hit my microphone. Not used to it being this side.
Great. Yeah, but I think, before we talk about WrestleMania, I do want to say I hope you enjoyed the first video if you watched it. The first episode of the show. It was kind of an intro to us and things that we like as wrestling fans. So if you want to get to know us a little bit more, I highly recommend that episode.
Yeah, this one's going to be more like our normal content sort of thing.
Yes, yeah, much closer to our normal content. But also you may have noticed if you did watch the first episode, the intro will be slightly different on this one compared to the first episode. Slightly different animation and music. Please let us know which one you prefer, and then that is the one we will go with in the future, because we're trying to just kind of try out different things here. We're a little bit like Vince McMahon. We don't really know what we want.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the music. Which of the music you prefer?
Yes.
So I quite like both. I don't mind. I think we'll stick with the animation because there's just stuff in the background. It just makes it look a bit better than just having their logo on the plain black. But
and also let us know if you just want something completely different music-wise, because we can always throw that together.
Well, with the reason.
If we need to,
yeah.
But I think we should get into it.
Absolutely.
We have a lot to talk about today. A lot of matches. And a lot of very good matches, actually.
Yeah. I mean, from NXT Night 1 all the way to WrestleMania Night 2, it was a good amount of variation on match types and level of quality and styles of wrestling and stuff like that. It's very, very interesting.
So, talking about NXT Night 1, Stand and Deliver. This NXT pay-per-view felt like a big one, and I don't know why. It felt like they were trying to prove something about NXT. Do you know what I mean? But every time there's a takeover pay-per-view for NXT, it's like they just show that they're better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there genuinely hasn't been a bad takeover. I don't think they've hit the heights of Chicago.
No.
Because
but then
that's one of the best
you're
pay-per-views
in Chicago, but anytime you're in Chicago, though, as a wrestling company, it's going to be hard to top
the only thing I will say is I think NXT have been hurt harder by the lack of fans.
I agree.
Than almost anyone, because so many... take the O'Reilly Adam Cole match, for instance.
If that had fans,
if that had a proper audience, it would have elevated it to a next level sort of thing.
100%. But we'll get to that match later because that was not night one thing.
That was not night one.
So why don't you, Luke, run us through the results really quickly, and then we'll go back and talk about each match.
Cool. So on the pre-show, Zoe Stark beat Toni Storm in a match I didn't actually see.
No, I didn't see that one either. So,
but kicking off the main show was Pete Dunne and Kushida. Wow.
Lovely.
Pete Dunne won because he's a good boy. Next was the 6-man gauntlet eliminator for the number one contenders.
Yes.
Ship for the North American title, which would have been
And
on
that
night
match
2.
took place on night 2. Yeah.
Did Bronson
And
Reed?
this I just want to say
Yeah,
before we move on, this was a really fun match, and I'll
this feels
explain why
like
later.
this is very reminiscent of the first North American title match.
Yeah.
Where they put like EC3, like all that kind of crop guys. They're like, these are the next guys. These are the next big dudes. They're going to run NXT next.
Definitely.
So Bronson Reed
like
beat Isaiah Swerve Scott, who I loved. I kind of actually wanted him to win. Cameron Grimes, LA Knight, Dexter Lumis, and Leon Ruff. And then Walter put his NXT UK Championship on the line against Tommaso Ciampa and retained because he's Walter. Who's going to beat Walter? MSK.
I mean, I kind of wanted Ciampa to win.
I kind of wanted Ciampa to win as well. But we'll get to that because I think there's a clever thing they could do with Ciampa.
Yes.
MSK beat Grizzled Young Vets, and
I saw this coming a mile off. Like, that was so obvious, right?
I did. Because it probably was the original plan. They probably were meant to take the belts off of the Britain Brawlers, but I really wanted the Grizzled Young Vets to win.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
But also in there were it's the first time I'm actually saying this out loud. Legado del Fantasma.
Mm-hmm.
And the main event, which is a very good one, was Raquel Gonzalez beating Io Shirai for the women's championship. Great match.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how when the women are given time to show what they can do, 90% of that time they always show what they can do. They very rarely disappoint.
Yeah, take note, AEW. Put your women on the fucking... Anyway, should we leave it there and review night 1, or do you want to review both nights all at once?
No, we'll go for night 1 first, because there's a lot to discuss. I think we should go through it.
We'll skip over Zoe Stark and Toni Storm, because I didn't watch the pre-show.
No.
I very rarely watch the pre-shows anymore.
I wish I watched night 2, unless they give me a tangible reason to watch the pre-show. It's like...
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Toni Storm yet either, so I'm like, meh, whatever. But first,
match 1, this was
Pete Dunne versus Kushida. It like the angle kind of feels like it's come out of nowhere. It was only built in the last couple of weeks.
Sometimes that needs to happen, though, right?
For sure.
Sometimes they're just we need to have these guys on the card because they're great. And how do we get them on the card?
100%.
Because one of my favorite matches at WrestleMania, which we'll get to later, was a match that was put together essentially within 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I love that.
And it was great. But this is I'm a huge fan of Pete Dunne. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the company, let alone NXT.
Yeah.
I really like Kushida. I just think he's misused at the moment. I think he is one of the few in NXT who is misused.
I would have had him beat Gargano.
Yeah.
For the North American title, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm not a fan of Gargano.
I don't know if you remember, but obviously a while back, they brought in Alex Shelley to team with Kushida in the tournament. And it's like, I'm sure WWE were clever enough to sort of go, let's have a discussion, but they should have they should have done what they needed to do to get Alex Shelley in.
Quick tangent. Ages ago, they brought in Chris Sabin as well.
Yeah.
He didn't do any matches. He just trained with younger guys at the Performance Center, and I was like, oh please, I love the Motor City Machine Guns. Please.
It is funny how there's a couple of wrestlers, because they only do it on NXT. They've never really done it on the main roster, where there's a couple of wrestlers that show up for 1 or 2 shows, but don't sign long-term.
Yeah, like James Storm.
Yeah, and I think Storm was meant to be fair. I think there was
an offer, yeah.
There was an offer, and it just didn't. In the end, I think he had a better offer.
Yeah, one of the bigger ones was American Dragons? Was that what they were called? The tag team?
I can't remember.
Eddie Edwards.
Oh yes, yeah.
What were they called?
I can't remember what they were called.
I forgot what they're called, but Eddie Edwards and
Davey Richards.
Yeah, they were huge. And they ended up going to Impact.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a really good match.
It was.
It kind of went back and forth. It had a good pacing to it, I felt. It, sometimes these matches where they go with this sort of style of let's trade holds and let's do all these different things sometimes can feel very slow to the point of being boring, and this didn't feel slow.
No, it wasn't your Randy Orton kind of hold match. It was, your Pete Dunne kind of hold match where everything looks like it hurts like hell and everything's, rapid and moves quick and it's entertaining.
The one frustration I have with Pete Dunne now, though, is that it feels... I mean, it's a positive and a negative, because I love him, but to a certain degree, every single one of his matches feels the same.
Yeah, I get it.
And I kind of would like to see something different. And I thought that when they brought him back as a heel, I thought, are we going to get a slightly different Pete Dunne here? Like, are they going to do something a little bit different with him? And then it's like, no, I'll just be exactly the same, but make it seem more aggressive. And I get it, and it does work. It's just that I'd like to see a little bit more variation.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of, because I'm sure he's capable of other things.
I mean, we've seen it. Like, we've seen he's done some incredible things. It was just a kind of, although it was great, it was kind of just a standard Pete Dunne level match, which, the bar for that is up here.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's not, I don't want to sound negative because I'm not negative about it in that sense.
Yeah.
I would just like to see a little bit more. And, Pete Dunne, to me, feels like, I mean, if we get Pete Dunne and Karrion Kross at some point, I'm all in on that.
I said to my brother, I reckon within a year and a half, he will win the NXT title.
Yeah, I agree. Because I also wonder, and this is no disrespect to Pete Dunne either, I think it's just the way that WWE think. I also wonder whether Dunne may be one of those wrestlers who they just keep in NXT because they don't quite believe in enough to be a main roster guy.
Maybe we'll see. He's still young, so we'll see. He's not like he's like 27.
When was the last time that we saw Tyler Bate?
On NXT main?
Yeah.
I think it was his tag title run.
Because that's a long time, really.
I mean, he's been kind of propping up NXT UK.
Yeah.
I
mean,
he did a couple of cruiserweight bits as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I get it, but I think he's one again that should be just on the main show.
I think it's his choice, though.
Yeah,
I think it is very much his choice. Same as Walter.
It's kind of like Walter. Walter will show up for a takeover when he needs to.
Yeah.
But the reason he will never, from what I understand, the reason that he will probably never make it to the main roster in WWE is because he wants to stay in Europe.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Which is absolutely fine. He's making the right decision for him. He's one of the most incredible wrestlers to watch.
Yeah,
when he has a match.
I really hope they can just keep. I hope they can just make NXT UK bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe expand it a bit rather than just being.
They need, no disrespect to that roster, I think they need a couple. They need a couple of stars that aren't from the UK to be on the show. Permanent.
We'll get into it, but maybe Balor.
Yeah.
Maybe Balor goes. But yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, Pete Dunne and Kushida, very good.
So yeah, next match, what have we got?
So we have that 6-man gauntlet eliminator match, which was awesome. It started out with Leon Ruff, but before he could even make his entrance, he was thrown out onto the stage by. I love Isaiah Swerve Scott as a heel.
Yeah,
he's given me real like early Shawn Michaels vibes.
Yeah, I agree.
His swagger and stuff like that. I really like him. And they had a good little tussle outside of the ring for a bit. And then they were joined by Cameron Grimes, LA Knight, Dexter Lumis, and Bronson Reed.
Yeah. Bronson Reed came in second, right? I believe.
No, Cameron Grimes came in second.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was. So Ruff, Swerve, Cameron Grimes, because they teamed up on Liam Ruff.
Oh yeah.
And then.
Because Reed was in before LA Knight.
Yeah.
Because LA Knight basically
LA
kicked
Knight
him
came
in
in
the
last.
head.
Yeah, no, that's right. LA Knight came in last. Dexter Loomis was just before that, and Bronson Reed was in the middle.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought.
I'll tell you what.
Go on.
I just want to talk about LA Knight for a minute before we get into the rest of the match, because I mean, I don't know if you ever saw the guy when he was in TNA.
I did.
But he was incredible there.
Was.
Let's be honest. That's all we got to say.
Yeah.
He basically is. There have been some comments made about how he kind of sounds like The Rock sometimes.
He is literally some kind of amalgamation of Ric Flair, The Rock, and Stone Cold.
Yeah.
In his, like, even in ring, he looks and moves around like The Rock did. I love it.
I just want to say something. I don't know who gave him the name LA Knight, but it's the worst name ever, and he's made it work.
Oh, bro, I actually really like it. I hated it at first, but then when he was like, I'm like, oh, sick.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's like, that's cool. What I mean. It's just like, and I love the fact that every time he comes out, Barrett's talking him up on commentary.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, it's just like,
I think LA Knight's gonna be big. I love him.
He's gonna be really big, and I just, like I said, I love. It's something about his attitude. It's kind of that Austin Aries thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of that Austin Aries thing where he knows he's good and he's gonna tell everybody.
Yeah,
but it's not just the character. It's almost like you believe that the guy knows he's that good.
Yeah. He, like I said, he is a bit of a throwback to when
I love it.
Kayfabe was more of a thing. He does play that character incredibly well.
Yeah, I love it. I just hope that they don't go the way of eventually calling him just Knight, because that's also a weird WWE thing.
And I also really hope they don't EC3 him, because EC3 was a similar thing. Very, very good talker, very good character, but they screwed him up massively.
For sure.
Putting him on the main roster and not letting him say a word.
I think that they have learned, to their credit, that they need to leave some people on NXT a lot longer.
Sure. Or just leave them there permanently, because, there's nothing wrong with being on NXT.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also with NXT, moving to Tuesday nights as well. I still believe that they're moving to Tuesday nights because they lose to AEW every single week in the ratings.
It is a combination of things. They probably were like, yeah, we'll move, but it is also like, it is stuff that is out of their hands as well.
Yeah, of course.
I think if it was up to them, they wouldn't have.
But with them moving to Tuesday nights, I do wonder whether they are going to, because they need to make it a serious, like, this is the third show. This is not, do you know what I mean? It's got to the point now where it still kind of feels like a WWE Network show where they see it as a second tier show. And I think they should treat it like it's a...
I think Vince does, but that also worked to its benefit, because for a good while, maybe until they actually moved to 2 hours and got a network spot, they were the best thing every week.
Yeah. 100%.
Without question, they were the best thing. I think maybe they should trim it down and be an hour and a half. That might help, because the 2 hours has really affected them. So weirdly, because they got so much talent.
Yeah.
It's weird. But yes.
Yeah, but
anyway.
going back to this match,
very good.
I really liked it. I think, again, it was one where the pacing was spot on.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you've got this many guys in a match, it can kind of, the pacing can lose it a little bit in the middle, and they didn't do that. Everybody got their spots in. Everybody looked like a star at some point.
Yeah.
There were a lot of little story beats as well that they could build off of if they need to.
Well, that's why I actually thought Dexter Loomis was going to win. Really? Because of the story beats, because of the stuff between him and the Way.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to win, and then when Bronson Reed was there with Swerve and Cameron Grimes, I'm like, surely Reed has to win, and he looked like an absolute star.
Yeah,
he looked incredible. He looked like he was like Bam Bam Bigelow reignited or something.
Well, this is kind of the thing. Is like, I saw a few comments online of like, oh, this guy's Brodus Clay, and it's like, no.
I mean, to be fair,
no disrespect to Brodus Clay.
Yeah, before he did the Funkasaurus thing, Brodus Clay was dope.
Yeah.
He was
That's what I mean.
awesome.
That's what I
But
mean.
no. He's leagues above Brodus Clay. Like, he's so athletic. He's such a good wrestler. He did actually team with what were they called? They were just called the Mighty, or TM61 in NXT.
Yeah.
But in Australia, they were a big old faction called the Mighty Don't Kneel, and they were
fantastic.
Watching him made me miss them because I love that faction so much.
Yeah.
But no, Bronson Reed went great. I would have, other than maybe Leon Ruff, I would have been happy with anyone winning this match. I thought they were all great.
But this is the thing. They did the story beats so well in this match that I went into it thinking, in my head, I was thinking, there's no way LA Knight doesn't win.
I thought it was too obvious.
Right. And then, but this is what I mean. And then as I kind of went through the match and you went through the story beats, it's like, oh shit, anyone could genuinely win here. And they're making me feel like anyone could win.
The only reason I didn't want Leon Ruff to win was because it's something we'd seen already quite recently.
Yeah.
And it seems like the stuff between him and Swerve.
I think that sometimes though, they do that where, like, for example, if Ruff had won and he'd gone on to face Gargano, I think that would have been a sign that maybe Ruff was being called up, kind of thing, because sometimes they call up people early.
Yeah, kind of like they did with Damian Priest,
and they'll kind of let them have one final big match before they move on, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ruff feels like the guy they would just call up to job out, sort of thing. I don't think he would get that kind of match, but for sure.
But yeah, it felt like the right winner in the end.
Yeah,
and it led
very
to
impressive.
An incredible match as well. Which
and even though like he was the big, how are they going to eliminate him, dude? It did really feel like at points like Swerve was going to win, like Cameron Grimes was going to win. I love the way that Cameron Grimes paid him off.
LA Knight came out and literally kicked him in the head. That was just like,
I love all the smack talk, and then he lasted for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I loved that.
Do you know what though? They did a really cool psychological thing where they actually made LA Knight seem like a threat by the way that they eliminated him. Because they all teamed up, they all hit their moves on him.
Oh yeah.
They made him seem like a threat, even though he wasn't a big guy. Normally, that's a big guy elimination.
Yeah. I mean, it's a combination of that and everyone just like, he's just pissed everybody off immediately. Which is great. He's such a good character. I can't wait to see more of him. But this was a very, very good match. Speaking of very, very good matches, Walter versus Tommy Ciampa. Now this was great.
This was the match. So this was the match going into the night where I was like, as long as this match is good, I don't care about anything else.
Same. This was so good. It was Ciampa being a bit of old Ciampa. I liked him back in his old ring gear and
shaved his head.
Just because the old man look wasn't really doing it.
Doesn't look right.
Yeah. Which I kind of get because he was kind of losing his way a bit, so it does kind of make sense.
It fits the story, right? It fits the story.
I love this match, and it was so well told. It genuinely got to a point. It's like, is Ciampa going to beat him? The way he was working that arm, the chop through the table.
This was the one where I feel like Ciampa should have won. I feel like it made more sense.
I don't.
Okay.
Because the Balor thing isn't finished. I don't think.
Okay, yeah.
Because they were talking about that recently, and they said that it was something that he wanted to do, and he's still pitching, but it just couldn't happen because of the pandemic. And two, what I would do with Tommaso Ciampa right now is put him on a losing streak. Keep giving him opportunities, keep losing, and then he comes up. He somehow gets a North American title championship opportunity, gets beaten really easily by Gargano, and then he snaps and turns back into heel dickhead bastard Ciampa. Because that is the best Ciampa.
It was.
Face Ciampa is kind of dead now.
The thing is, face Ciampa should be heel Ciampa. That's
it should just be Yeah,
That's kind
it should
of
be
what needs
exactly
to
the same.
happen.
Just
It's like
they're cheering him instead of
it
booing him.
needs to be that character, but
Yeah.
he needs to be so crazy and
Yeah.
so that people love him for
Yeah.
it. Do you know
And
what
there
I
are
mean?
people that have said like he can't really do it without Gargano being the opponent, but he did it with Adam Cole. He did it with
He
everyone through
can.
his
Like,
run.
he is an incredible
Yeah.
wrestler.
I mean, everyone's got that guy that they work best with.
I get
but
that
like,
no, the thing is, I don't even think it's that.
mm,
I think the reason it works more with Gargano isn't because he's a better wrestler when Gargano's in the ring.
no.
It's because the story they have
Yeah.
between them.
It's the same thing
the
with Kevin Owens
story
and Sami
element.
Zayn.
Yeah.
Same
It's the story element. It's the same as like, you know, when you put on the main roster years ago, anytime that you put Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker or Shawn Michaels and Triple H together, you were in for some magic, but it was because of the story.
Yeah.
Um,
but yeah, I'd put him on a losing streak and just have him snap.
Yeah, I agree. You could.
I'd have him lose to Gargano like really easily. It wouldn't even break a sweat. It would just be like, oh, that was easy. He'd like screw him out. He would come down wearing like a DIY shirt.
Yeah.
He'd do the things that Ciampa did to him, and then Ciampa would destroy, I don't know, someone that's really beloved in NXT. I don't know. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Maybe
Dream comes back and Ciampa destroys him.
No. You need someone like really beloved.
Okay.
Like you need someone that is loved in NXT.
Well, maybe by the time they get to that point of him losing so much, maybe that person's O'Reilly. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe. Maybe. Because there isn't that Sami Zayn or Gargano level babyface there at the moment.
No.
He needs that guy to kill.
It does feel like they're gonna build O'Reilly into that though.
But I don't think he'll be the same guy. Later. But yeah, for sure. So yeah, Walter Tommaso was probably my favorite match of the night, to be honest.
Yeah,
so, I always love Walter matches. Walter matches are fantastic. All are. I haven't seen his match with...
I mean, Walter, to be great, all he has to do is slap people. Like that's literally it.
Yeah. Man, when he put his hand through the desk, oh man, that was so good.
I want him to win a match by literally walking in the ring and slapping someone so hard it knocks them out. Like, I'd love to
I really wanted him to do that to Seth Rollins when they did that crossover thing.
Yeah.
Just walk in, smack, done. That would have been fantastic, yeah. Next up, we had the triple threat for the vacant NXT Tag Championships. And boy, this was very close to being the best match of the night.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a match. Love Wesley. Wesley is so good.
Yeah. He's one of the best tag matches I've seen in a very long time.
NXT do tag matches very, very well.
Yeah.
Their tag matches tend to be incredible. Like I said, I 100% get why MSK won, and they were probably the original pick to go over the bald lads, the English guy, and I always forget their name. I always remember Breton Ballers for some reason, but off the top of my head, I forget their name.
Grizzled Young Vets.
No.
Oh, the other one. Oh, yeah.
The actual tag champions.
What are their names?
Only Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Danny Burch. Yeah.
They're great. I get why they got the tag champions, but boy, they're a bit boring. But hey ho.
Sometimes you need those boring people, though.
You do, because they're pricks. They're very good at being pricks. I love it. Yeah. I really, really wanted Grizzled Young Vets to win. It really felt like they've just been so good for so long.
Do you know what's funny about Grizzled Young Vets is when they initially were a thing, it felt very much like, oh, okay, these guys will be the NXT UK kind of tag team. But they've surpassed that. No disrespect to NXT UK. I love the UK. That's where we live. But,
that's all right.
You know, Grizzled Young Vets are like genuinely character-wise and wrestling in the ring-wise.
It does feel
one of the best tag teams right now.
It does feel like it's a DIY situation, though. It does feel like Gibson is going to break out and be the guy.
Really? You think so?
Gibson is fantastic. He's so good on the mic. He's just such a detestable heel. It's so good. He's very good at getting booed.
Yeah.
He's great. I like, as good as James Drake is, Zach Gibson is the center of attention on that. Like he's always the one
That's
on the
true.
mic.
Yeah.
When he passes it over to James
But
Drake, it's not quite there, but
sometimes though it's the one that you don't expect.
oh, for sure,
that
for
ends
sure.
up being the guy.
Yeah,
Do you
for
know
sure.
what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, they both could, but Zach Gibson seems more prepared for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Legado del Fantasma, also great. Raul Mendoza has been on NXT for a very long time, and I'm glad that he's actually getting stuff to do with Joaquin Wild, who was what was he called in TNA?
Oh God.
Hold on, I'm on the Wikipedia page. I could just
have a look. Not sure.
I don't want to Zima Ion.
Yeah, Zima Ion. Yeah.
I hated the DJ stuff he did. It's terrible.
Yeah, he's great though. He's great wrestler.
He's fantastic. I was really happy when they signed him because I'm like, oh, he's very good.
He's one of those wrestlers that would probably come up on a future episode of kind of underused or misused wrestlers, because certainly during his TNA time, it kind of felt like he could have been a way bigger thing, and then it was like, oh no, we'll just make him into a comedy thing.
Yeah, I think we'd have to do a TNA episode on their own because so many bad choices. So many wrestlers, but
for sure.
Yeah, that tag match was very, very close to being the best match of the night. It was.
I agree. It was very close.
Wesley is such a good hot tag. When he came in that first time, and he just like kicking everybody in the face and Wesley feels like he's a superstar just waiting. He feels like the same way that Montez Ford in the same kind of ilk where they feel like they're going to break out.
About MSK? I don't know why, but in my head, like, obviously, you know, they've been in another company previously, but I didn't feel like they were going to end up in WWE because they don't feel like a WWE team, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm a little crazy, but it just, they
don't feel like a WWE team, but they definitely feel like an NXT team.
Yeah. And maybe that's what it is. It's like, they just something.
It's a little bit of a shame they didn't get all three.
Yeah,
because one of them is still back over there, and he's doing really well. He's very good.
But also that can lead sometimes to really interesting story things, because if he comes in later, do you know what I mean? That could be an interesting thing, because it may have just been a thing that contracts didn't line up or whatever.
Yeah, or they did just want to stay there. But happens. And finally, for night one, we had the main event. Raquel Gonzalez with Dakota Kai by her side. Shout out to Dakota Kai, by the way, because she's awesome. I love Dakota Kai. Being Io Shirai. I think this is well deserved. I do, but I think this title run's been a bit iffy.
It has.
It doesn't feel like I genuinely think the NXT Women's title is the most prestigious title WWE have at the minute.
Wow. Okay.
Because I saw a photo that's got it's like a collage of all the NXT Women's champions
and where they've gone on to be.
My God, not even that. Just taking their reigns alone, all of their reigns are fantastic. Maybe apart from like Summer something. I can't remember what her name was. She danced with Fandango.
Summer Rae.
Yeah, her. Maybe apart from her, because I think she was on it, but yeah, Ember Moon, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, like they were all fantastic, and I really hope that, like, genuinely, WWE, misused or not, they have the best women's roster in the world.
I agree, because also every single time you think it's getting stale, they make someone relevant. Yeah. Even if you think they never will be.
Yeah. And then Charlotte comes back and bores everyone to tears.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, Charlotte bores everyone to tears, but then everyone talks about how amazing she is.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
like, I just want her to do a run where she doesn't talk. Because it's the same boring stuff. But anyway, Raquel Gonzalez winning, it felt like that was what was going to happen. And she had a great match. It was very, very good. Very well put together. Yeah, I love her finisher. Her finisher is great. That single arm powerbomb thingy.
Yeah.
it felt like the perfect time, and it felt huge. I love that they made it the main event of night one. Very,
Yeah,
just incredibly well put together. I think she's going to be fantastic. I wonder if eventually Dakota is going to become that jealous heel, and Raquel
maybe.
turns face sort of thing.
Maybe.
But I hope it's just like all of the other good ones that she does hold this for a good while.
Do you think? So here's a question: we're recording on Tuesday. NXT has got its first episode on a Tuesday night tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when there's a first show on a new night, something big happens, right?
Yeah, generally after takeovers as well.
And we know that there is a women's wrestler debuting tonight, right?
Yeah, Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah, who has a terrible name in NXT.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Who cares?
But do you think that's where they go straight away? Do you think Valkyrie is
Probably
the challenger?
Probably. NXT tend to be quite good at not doing that, though. They tend to be like when Adam Cole came in, went straight in, attacked Drew McIntyre.
But then they didn't go in that direction.
They built it up very well.
Yeah.
I think they could. I think it is an immediate, I'm going to get in your face, kind of like Rhea Ripley did.
Yes.
On her first night on Raw. Even though it was like her fourth night on Raw, but never mind. I think they could. But I don't know. Agree. We'll see.
I would agree. Yeah, so that was it for night one. You know, if I had to grade night 1 out of 10, it would probably get an 8 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, it was solid.
It was great. It was every match was at least good, I think is the way I'd put it.
Yeah.
So really strong stuff from NXT as always. Let's move on to night 2, because I think this is where some of the real magic happened.
Yeah, so I do wish I watched the pre-show on this one. It was Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, both of whom I love, versus Tyler Breeze and Fandango, both of who I love. Yes. And the winner gets a tag team title match. Killian Dane and Drake Maverick won that, so they'll go on and face MSK at some point. Maybe tonight. I don't know.
I think that will be a really interesting match.
I do as well. I love the dynamic between Dane and Maverick.
Isn't it so funny how Maverick was gone and now he's like one of the best things that they've got?
I'm so happy. I would have put him with EC3 and made him his manager. Occasional, or even made him a tag team, because I think they work fantastic together. And
the thing about Maverick, like, let's talk him up for a second, is he's a genuinely very good wrestler.
Yeah.
But he's just not the right size or build for WWE. Like, for them, it's like, oh, you're just a little Weasley manager guy. And it's like, no, this guy's a good wrestler. Let him be a wrestler.
He is also a very good character. So he is very good at being that Weasley manager guy. So even if they don't have anything to do, everything for him as a wrestler.
Yeah.
There is still loads he can do. He's very, very good at everything he does.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that he was able to stay around. I was heartbroken when he put that video out.
That was such a touching video.
That's just a dude that he's just such a great dude. But I wish I watched that match. Didn't. Not going to go back and watch it because it's in the past. The first match in the main card was a great start for the second night. Was the NXT unification match. The Cruiserweight unification match.
Yes.
Between Santos Escobar and Jordan Devlin. While I thought this was a fantastic match, it didn't need the run-in.
No.
I didn't like the run-in. That was the only thing
and not even that. The other thing, my one issue with this match, and it's not even a major issue really, is that the result was almost so telegraphed that it made it boring to watch.
It was kind of obvious because Jordan Devlin is NXT UK.
Yeah.
If it was a case that he was gonna, I don't know. I guess he could have won and came over full time, but I don't think anyone thought that was going to happen. And to be fair, Santos Escobar, I said it to my brother when we watched it. He feels like Andrade did when he was in NXT.
Yeah, I agree.
I really think Escobar could push up the card and be really special.
It is a funny one because I never expected him to come out of the mask though.
Yeah, I know.
Like I never thought that's
wins
what
the
they were
NXT
gonna
title.
do.
Boom! Fuck you lot. I'm
Yeah.
right now. He's great at it though.
Yeah, he
Fantastic.
is.
Like his entrance with the masks, very cool. Yeah, I think he's going to be big. I think he could be a big star in NXT.
Yeah, either that or he's gonna end up misused just like Andrade was.
Possibly.
But we will see. We will see. This was a
Yeah.
really good match. I don't really have much to say about it because it was just good. You know.
Yeah, it was a very good spot match. Like there was a lot of
It was exactly what you'd expect
Yeah.
from these two wrestlers
for
this belt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do hope that Jordan Devlin does get a bit more spotlight now. I hope he does. You know, he's going to go back to NXT UK.
But the thing about Devlin is he's had great matches a few times now, and then everybody forgets he exists.
Yeah, he does kind of drop off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he was injured or what, but I know, like, the pandemic, he couldn't get over to the States.
I think he got injured when he won the belt initially, because I do think there was an idea of, let's have him win the belt, and then let's have him have a run on main NXT. Yeah. I don't know if that's the plan for him anymore, whether he'll stay on main NXT or whether he's going to kind of go back to NXT UK. So it'd be interesting to see, because I do think there is still more they could do with him as well.
It doesn't say that he was injured. It does just seem that it was the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
But that might have just been because it's NXT UK, and that kind of just is off of the face of the planet, unfortunately.
True.
It should get more spotlight. It gets a spotlight on, like, BT over here.
Yes.
But that's because it's over here.
It's over here, right? Yeah.
But, hey, very good match.
No, I think there's something really interesting that they could do if they went down the route of, you know, if we can take a tangent for a second.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If Devlin's gonna stay on main NXT roster, I'd really like to see a story between him and Balor.
I was gonna say be Balor's protege.
Like an actual story rather than they've obviously tangled before.
I think they should do the same thing they did with Bryan and Gulak.
Yeah.
And have them, like, push each other.
I think that'd
be really cool. But then actually finish it with a feud and have Devlin, you know, actually maybe you have that as Balor's last NXT match and have Devlin come up and then Balor goes back to main roster.
Yeah, because you would assume that Balor goes back to main roster at some point, right?
I hope not. But yeah, I hope not, because I love this Balor. And I just think he'd get ruined in main roster, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have been ruined the first time, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. For stuff that's completely out of his control, but hey-ho.
Yeah, it almost felt like when he got injured, they just went, okay, we're never going to trust you again. That almost felt like what happened. And it's like, anybody can be injured. Seth Rollins could get injured tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
But hey-ho. Next up, we had Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart versus The Way, which is Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell.
For me, I had no interest in this match at all.
Really? Okay.
So
I love Ember Moon, so I was very interested.
I mean, I love the people in the match. I love the characters, all that stuff. It was just something about this match didn't click with me.
It was a little bit sloppy here and there.
Yeah,
there were a couple of like slip spots and stuff like that.
But even going into the match, I was just a bit like,
it was very
care.
Yeah, it wasn't built up very well. It was built up in a backstage angle where like Candice LeRae was just like, "Meh, I want a shot." Like,
yeah.
Cool, whatever. The match was better than the angle was. I like the match was good. It wasn't great. I think this was the weakest. Yeah, it was definitely the weakest match on night 2. Maybe as a whole for the Takeover, it was the weakest match.
Yeah, I think
definitely the weakest build, because even Pete Dunne and Kushida was more interesting.
I don't want to be too harsh on the match, but I actually think between NXT and both WrestleMania nights, I think this was the weakest match overall.
Okay.
I would go that far. It just, like you said, it felt like the build wasn't strong enough. It was it was almost like a match for the sake of being a match.
It kind of feels like they forgot the tag titles were a thing.
Yeah.
And as cool as they are, I don't think they should be in NXT.
No.
Because it doesn't. I don't know if like NXT have got a lot of great individuals, but as a whole, I don't think are there that many like tag teams that they're not just going to do the same as the main roster and put random people together, because I hate that.
Yeah.
If you want to have tag team titles, there's plenty of women's tag titles.
You say that, but sometimes putting random people together can lead.
Sometimes, but not very often, especially in WWE.
Yeah.
I like Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart together.
Yeah.
And like the Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell is kind of a mentorship thing. But just WWE love hiring people. Go hire actual female tag teams if you're going to do this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them are very good. But sticking with the way, Bronson Reed is back because he is taking on Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano does win this match.
Yes.
And for me, it was going one of two ways. It was either Bronson Reed was going to win, or I have a theory.
Okay.
An Austin theory.
Okay.
Oh, hi, dog. I didn't see my dog down here. I think eventually Austin Theory is going to turn face and take the title from Gargano.
I hate Austin Theory. So
what? No way. I love Austin Theory.
I really don't like him.
I loved him. But when he debuted, I was like, this dude is awesome. He was like 22. He had so many Randy Orton vibes.
I like him. I like him in the ring. Okay, that's what I'll say.
Oh, do you not like his comedy?
I like him in the ring, but I hate everything else.
Oh, dude, I love it. I think he's really funny.
I hate the
when
character.
He did that. It's me, Austin. I laughed so hard. I think he's hilarious.
I find him more annoying.
He's meant to be,
and I get that he's meant to be, but to me,
not the right kind. Yeah,
it's the point of annoying where it's like, no, I don't find that funny annoying. I find that just annoying.
It feels like the kind of thing they're trying to do with Riddle, but it actually works because Riddle's is just stupid. I hate Riddle at the moment.
Riddle is also just bloody annoying.
Yeah, I hate what they're doing with Riddle at the minute. It's such a waste of him. But Austin, he's young enough that this doesn't really matter. He can do this, and it's just experience for him. Mm-hmm. But I just think he's so funny. When like
young Randy Orton, right?
Exactly. When Gargano and him were talking about the potential of Austin actually facing him, they were like, well, what happens if that happens? And Austin just turns around and is like, it's fine, we'll just do the finger poke of doom. I'm like, oh dude, he just gets it. I love him so much. He's funny as hell. I really want I think he's gonna be huge. But no, Gargano goes on, wins this. I didn't like the finish too much. I think the finish was a bit iffy. I think there probably should have been a bit of a dirtier finish to this. But it was a good match. Wasn't the best. Didn't help that Bronson, was having a 30-minute match the night before.
Yes. Yeah.
25-minute match the night before, and then facing someone like Gargano.
Yeah.
Who's going to tire you out. But I thought it was a good match. I think Bronson Reed looks like a star. I wondered
initially before the match happened, like when the night started.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, are they going to pull a switch here? Is Reed, are they going to like attack Reed because Gargano doesn't want to fight him?
Sure.
Then is somebody else going to take his place, sort of thing? I did wonder whether that would happen. Obviously it didn't. But I wonder, it just makes me wonder what is next for Gargano now, because even if you go down the Austin Theory route, I don't think you can do that yet.
No, I don't think that's just yet. I think that's in maybe 6 months' time. Whatever it is, I hope it's good, because I don't like Gargano at the moment.
No.
I was interested to see him as a heel, and I think he's good as a heel, but I just don't like how it's being done.
I think he's good, but he's not good enough.
He's not. This isn't his type of heel.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
think he would be. I think potentially he'd be great as a bastard heel like Daniel Bryan. Mm-hmm. Actually just kick the shit out of people, sort of thing.
Or the bastard pack, some might say.
Daniel Bryan did it first, but sure. I'm talking like Daniel Bryan Ring of Honor days. where he was an absolute prick.
For sure.
I don't. Yeah, I love Gargano. He's. I think.
Do you know what I'd love to see? It won't happen. It won't happen because Joe is definitely ending up on the main roster again. But imagine we get
great.
Gargano versus Joe.
I'd love it. I would love it if he dropped back into NXT.
Like Gargano versus Joe. I feel like this is the reason I wanted to bring up Joe is because I feel like this is one of the things that I think NXT is missing. Like there are experienced people in NXT. You know, there are very experienced people, but they're missing the name value and experience. Does that make sense? I would say.
I don't know, because
to a certain degree, like I just think to myself, you know,
I think maybe WWE experienced.
Yeah.
Because that is a different thing from, just wrestling experience. Because, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Balor, Cross, Gargano, they've all been doing it for a very long time.
I'd love to do this as a future episode. But I just think to myself, if we could switch up these rosters a little bit.
Ooh.
And I think to myself,
I want to do that episode as well.
What if we did have Samoa Joe go back to NXT? What if we had Dolph Ziggler go into NXT?
I wouldn't have Ziggler.
I'm
gonna save it. I'm gonna save it because this is an episode I do want to do. Yeah, I'm gonna save it, but I have one. There was one guy that should be on NXT, and he did for a bit.
Okay,
but there was one guy.
Maybe
I think
maybe
it could really show what he could do.
Maybe that's the next episode that we do. We'll do that. We'll do switch around the rosters and.
Well, I think it'll mostly be NXT because Raw and SmackDown aren't really separate anymore. Maybe we'll just do our fixes.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just pitch some fixes and we'll go from there. But yeah, and then we go into our main event scene.
Yes,
we have our co-main event. I'm surprised this went on.
I can't decide which one of these was better.
I can very easily actually. I'm surprised that they put the title match on first, but I get it, completely get it because
I think the other one was the bigger story.
Yeah.
And also the title match, we knew where it was going because it had to go that way.
More or less, yeah.
Because he was always meant to be the champion, right?
Yes. So Karrion Kross did beat Finn Balor. Going in, I was genuinely like, But what if Balor won? Because I genuinely don't think that would be out of the realm of possibility because this Balor, I genuinely think this is the best Balor. Yeah. Even better than Devitt. I think this is his best run.
Okay,
I think he's been so good. The way, it sticks in my head, the way, he had that match. I can't remember who, maybe Pete Dunne? I can't remember who it was. And Karrion Kross is just behind him and he's like, what took you so long? And then just turns around.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's such a badass. He's so good. This is the Balor I've always wanted. I love him.
I do. There is a part of me, though, that misses the Demon.
No, I don't.
Really, you don't?
Yeah, no, that's done. I think leave that where it was. It's fine. He never really needed it. I think that was kind of part of the problem with his main roster run. Is
they overdid it, right?
Yeah, well, I don't think they overdid it because he only ever appeared 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
But it was always, I can't beat this guy, but the Demon can. It's like, cool. You're the same guy. Yeah. It's not like the way that Bray Wyatt and the Fiend is working, where they seem like they are very different.
They make them so different that people believe they're different.
It was a very cool look. I would love him to bring. I mean, he even did. He had had paint on.
One thing I heard the other day, it was actually during the Broken Skull sessions.
That was great
with Jericho.
Yeah,
and Jericho said that to make something work in the business, he essentially said, and I am paraphrasing, but he essentially said, you just have to commit because if you believe it, the audience will.
Yep, 100%.
And it's that kind of thing of, I'm not saying Balor doesn't commit because I do think he commits to the Demon, but on main roster, there wasn't enough commitment to make you feel like it was a totally different character.
I don't think it was his lack of commitment. I think it was Vince's lack of commitment.
I agree. And this is exactly
because he's a small guy.
Trying to say is, it's that thing of when he did the Demon on NXT, it always worked because it felt like a different character.
but it was never used as a different character either.
No.
It was just kind of, he was going to that dark place and he was pulling out stuff he wouldn't normally pull out. He was
100%.
going deeper and digging
100%.
deeper.
So
But
I think it's just really interesting is like how the reason I wanted to bring up Jericho saying that is because it did make me think that when you look back at any number of things that have happened in wrestling over the years, whether it be in NXT on the main roster, and you do realize that as fans, as long as the wrestlers really believe something, we'll always believe it.
yeah,
They can make us believe something is real even when it's not.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, going back to it real quick, this is why I really like the Austin Theory thing, because he has just embraced it fully.
yeah.
Whereas the Riddle thing, if you look at him while he's doing this stuff, he looks fed up.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, whereas Austin's like, it's me. Like, he's properly getting into it.
Yeah, it is funny. It is funny because it's just like, it's that weird thing of fans know that this stuff isn't real, but they can get to the point
they can
where they
suspend their disbelief.
believe, where they believe that it's real, and when that happens, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And
like in this match, for instance, Balor, I think Balor was the better of the two, because one, how unfazed he was, and how like halfway through the match, like he gets up and he's just like looking at Karrion and just laughing like, that was great, let's keep going.
I think Cross in this match achieved what he needed to, though.
Yes.
Because he didn't show us everything he has.
No.
But he also didn't need to. I didn't want to see everything he has in this match.
Yeah, it's the kind of run I appreciate more, is they're winning with, they seem unbeatable, but they don't seem unbeatable, if you know what I mean. It does seem like the right person or the right chain of events can lead to them losing.
Yeah, and also
but they are just
the other thing I love about the whole, I want to talk about Karrion Kross for a minute. Because the thing I love about the whole thing is that they managed to make him relevant without him ever wrestling. It almost feels like he could only wrestle on pay-per-views and it would still work. And I don't think there are many people you could do that with. But they've got a really interesting character here.
Yeah. I think it would be a mistake, because it does seem like I don't know if it's a bit of ring rust or if it is just he's not fully there yet. But there was a little something missing, I think. But that could just be an experience thing.
It could also be a thing of, he's in a title match again. He's booked to win the title again. And maybe he just thinks, I don't want to get injured again. I don't want to have to give this up again.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe it was, let's play it safe this first time, just to make sure I get the belt on me, and then we can do.
Yeah. I was a little gutted that Balor did lose, because I love Finn Balor. He's one.
I think Balor without the belt is more interesting, though, because now they can go anywhere with him.
Potentially, yeah. I just think Balor's that he's had such a great run.
Yeah.
His title run's been awesome. It's elevated the title again.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Not that like it wasn't before, but I think it going to Keith Lee really quick and then to Karrion kind of did hurt it a little bit.
Yeah.
I always hate really quick switchovers like that, because it just does kind of feel last minute. It does feel like Vince is going, we want that guy up.
You can do a quick switchover if it leads to a big story thing. When it's a quick switchover just to get somebody out of the way, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that's what happened with Keith Lee. It was just kind of like, okay, main roster now.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with Drew as well, to an extent.
Yeah.
But no, I really liked this match. I thought it was fantastic. I think Scarlett on the outside is great manager.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever see her wrestle. I think she'll be the Zelina Vega style.
Yeah, maybe.
But she really helped make this match what it was.
So if you had to guess, what do you think is next for Karrion? Obviously we are recording this before NXT, so we may already have some idea by the time you're seeing this episode. But
so I think Adam Cole's done in NXT.
Okay.
but I don't think we'll see him on main roster yet. I think he's going to take a bit of time because there was rumor that his contract was going to be up.
I was going to say he's not one of these where his contract's running out.
No, I think they signed a new contract. So he'll be on main roster, maybe around Money in the Bank. Hopefully, that'd be good. Who should he face? Who should he face? I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there was still a little thing with Balor.
Yeah,
if there was a
Balor again.
I don't even know if it will be a case that they'll fight each other, but if there is some sort of newfound respect between the two,
yeah,
and there is some sort of alignment.
My thing is, and this is this is testament to how they've built up Karrion. Really, is I don't see anyone on that roster who feels like a real threat to him, and that's And that's why I brought up the demon thing, is I was like, do they go down the demon route of if they do Balor again?
Maybe. Because they do rematches. Do they? No, they don't do rematches anymore, do they?
They don't do automatic rematches. But I wonder whether they go down the demon route with Balor of, I can't beat you like this, but I can. There is a way I can beat you.
Yeah.
And then they bring the demon back out, even if it's just for a one-time thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was what Kyle O'Reilly does next.
Yeah, he could.
But I think it might be too soon.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't want Kyle O'Reilly to be like destroyed straight away.
I'm trying to think.
I'm just looking at the roster, and I honestly don't know.
Because where's Dream been?
So he is injured. He was in a car crash.
Oh, geez. Okay.
He was in a car crash. When was that, actually?
Interesting.
Because hopefully, maybe they do something with Thatcher. Because that would be a hell of a match.
Maybe, but it just doesn't feel right.
I don't think.
Right. Maybe it's
I'm not sure you could put.
Pete Dunne?
I was thinking that. I was thinking Pete Dunne.
I think Pete Dunne could work. I just don't know how you do it character-wise.
I feel like there's a tournament coming.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a tournament coming, or
maybe a surprise entrant or two.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. The car crash was ages ago. Actually, he came back. Lost to Cameron Grimes.
Interesting. And then he's been gone ever since.
He beat Balor. There was a vacated North America. Nick Takeover 30.
Yeah.
There was those sexual harassment allegations as well.
So that might be why. Yeah.
But there have been. It does sound like they're false.
Okay.
It does sound like they are potentially false, which I hope is true.
Maybe that's what he's dealing with right now is the legal situation around.
Yeah, it probably is. Because he hasn't been released. He is still under contract.
I didn't know, because I did wonder whether, because I haven't seen him in so long, I wondered whether he was in that crop.
Triple H did talk about him recently.
Interesting. Okay.
And said that he is kind of just recovering and he would be back soon. I'm just trying to find the article. Once he was medically cleared to be able to return to the ring from his car accident, we continued forward the way we did. He looked into what there was, and we looked into what was there, and we didn't find anything. The accusations may take them all very seriously. Look into the best you can and find out what there is and what there isn't in this situation. He was also involved in a car accident. That's why they took him on TV. All this other stuff happens. You look into it. Yeah, it just sounds like he's just taking a bit of time away at the minute. I mean, the dude is 25.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting.
Yeah,
again,
that's true. That's
disgusting how young he is.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I just look at that roster and I just think to myself, there's no real threat here.
That being said, it is that time of the year when we get new people in.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Who knows? Maybe Keith Lee goes back to NXT.
No. Do you know the one I want?
Go on.
Aleister Black.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Right. Just battle the entrance music.
Don't even put that.
That would be so sick. I love Aleister Black. I want Aleister Black versus Bolt. I mean, I want Aleister Black versus everybody. But Aleister Black versus Karrion Kross, two dark, moody boys facing each other, that'd be dope.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
That would be a hell of a match.
That would be sick.
Can you imagine like Cross hitting that suicida thing he does, and then like Black just like coming up out of it, hitting him with a fade to back, and then them just both fall into the floor.
Yeah,
that'd be a dope match, and it has to happen in front of people. I think that, like I said,
do you know what? I actually think that's an interesting point. And before we move on to the final match for NXT Night 2,
well, that's actually why I brought it up. So I think this final match suffered without people.
Yeah. So I want to say, like, I think there are some matches that they've kind of planted the seeds for, even in NXT and in WWE, where it's like, we're going to plant these seeds to let you know where we want to go, but we're not going to go to those places until we can have fans.
Yeah, potentially.
It almost feels like there are some matches that kind of purposefully haven't happened because they want to have fans there for them.
Yeah, potentially. Like I said, perfect segue, because Kyle O'Reilly beats Adam Cole in the unsanctioned match. I think if there were fans there, I would have enjoyed this match way more.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed it because it felt like a fight.
Yeah.
It genuinely felt like a fight.
Yeah, sometimes... it wasn't like the Randy Orton Triple H thing where like you attacked my missus, I'm gonna beat you up. Here's a wrestling hold.
The Randy Orton Triple H thing felt like a wrestling match with weapons. This felt like a fight. It felt like they actually wanted to hurt each other.
Yeah.
And
quick shout out though.
Cool.
Their new entrance musics kind of suck.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I prefer Kyle O'Reilly's new theme.
Okay.
But I do appreciate that they didn't pull a Roman Reigns and no one is using Undisputed Era's music.
Yeah.
Because that would just feel like they were lingering on the past, sort of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Especially
for Adam Cole, because he literally said Undisputed Era is dead. I do think this was a very good match, but it felt too long in the tooth for me because there wasn't the crowd reactions. If there were crowd reactions, especially that spot at the end with Adam Cole led on the upside down chair, if there was a crowd reaction, that would have been.
Thing? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I want to dig into the build of this match a little bit. Because the motivation feels odd to me for this whole match. The motivation for what Adam Cole did feels a little bit weird to start with. Because it's like, why is that sort of come out of nowhere? That's how it felt.
They were teasing it before, though.
Yeah.
NXT do long-term booking in a way that main roster don't, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But if you go back and watch when Kyle was getting his shots at Balor, you could see like on Adam Cole's face and the way he was talking and interacting.
This is the one thing I was going to say is like, it is actually a positive, but you see that like their storytelling is also a lot more subtle in NXT.
It is.
Where it's not always about what they say. Sometimes it's literally about a look that they give.
Especially so on that first one, it wasn't there so much. It was there a little bit. You could see when like Kyle lost the match and they came down.
Yeah.
They went over to tend to Kyle, but Adam Cole was looking at the title.
Yeah. What do you think the other guys do now? We've had. I
am genuinely worried about Bobby Fish.
Okay.
I worry that he might not come back.
Maybe.
Because he has had a lot of injuries.
Older, right? He is also older, I believe.
I don't actually know.
I think he's a lot older. I could be wrong.
Let's have a look. Bobby Fish.
Because O'Reilly's young, but I think Fish is older.
He's 44.
Yeah. So I wonder
that's not too old, to be fair.
It's not too old to wrestle.
Yeah, he's 10 years older than Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole's 31.
Okay.
I think Roddy, he feels like a mid-card guy. To be honest, it does feel like
Roddy could go for Gargano.
That would be cool. Yeah. I think that would be an awesome match. That would be cool. It doesn't feel like he's ever going to be the guy to win the big belt. No. It does feel like he's a solid mid-card that could...
He feels like the guy who could challenge for the big belt but never actually win it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Which is what he was before. That's what he did with Drew. Before he joined Undisputed Era. And it feels like he could do some great stuff in a tag team again.
Yeah.
But I'm really worried that we don't see Bobby Fish again, or we only see him very briefly, because I'd love a proper Red Dragon run. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
But I am worried that these injuries are just gonna, because they're becoming more frequent. I feel so bad for the dude because he is great.
Yeah, I do. I also think, though, he is one of those, like many wrestlers, that, you know, if he can't wrestle anymore, he does still have a lot to offer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, whether
his name is actually Bobby Fish.
whether that be as a trainer or any sort of thing, like, the guy's got so much experience. He's literally been everywhere.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I'm interested to see what happens. I enjoyed this last match, but I agree with you that it really did miss the fans. It needed those key reactions at certain points.
It did. It needed. It's something that, like, the Gargano and Ciampa one benefited from, was the, you know, it was the roar of the crowd, but it was also when, like, Ciampa did something.
Yeah.
It was the dead silent of, oh shit, is he okay, sort of thing.
Do you know what? That leads us nicely into WrestleMania. Because
first off, hold on.
Go on.
What are your overall how do you feel about
thoughts
Takeover?
On Takeover? Across the 2 nights, I would say it's kind of a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because
I think one thing could actually push that up, and it's a crowd.
Yeah.
I genuinely think if there was a crowd, this would have been way better.
And that's the thing. It's a 7 out of 10 because every match except one match I would consider good. But then there is that thing of Takeover's not the same when it doesn't have the fans.
It's really not.
It's just not. Really not. NXT in general isn't the same. I think main roster get away with it because of the way they tell their stories.
Yeah, and they are more... They will pump in crowd noise.
Yeah.
And I hate it, but it does add to it.
It still makes a difference.
It does, unfortunately. Yeah, I genuinely think that was the only thing missing. I think this could have been an exceptional pay-per-view, but the lack of a crowd is just so detrimental.
So 7 out of 10, still very good. You know, I think some of the matches were great. I think the build and motivation for some of the matches was a little bit off compared to what they normally do.
I don't know about you, but I felt like there was just something missing.
Yeah.
There was that kind of holy shit kind of thing missing.
Yeah.
But again, that could be down to the crowd.
It almost feels like they needed they needed somebody to debut in NXT over the course of this event. Like, whether it be like a run-in or like we'll get on to WrestleMania, but at WrestleMania we had Omos in the ring for the first time. We had a debut of some big guy, kind of, because he has actually been seen before. And it's like, that stuff is cool and it makes a difference. But one thing that makes a major difference and made WrestleMania feel amazing is the crowd. Like, it made such a difference, and it made... But what I love about it, and this is where I want to start, is I didn't know how WWE were going to handle the crowd coming back. But they showed so much respect to the crowd of, we're not going to waste your time here. You've been away for so long. We're going to give you what you want. And when we don't give you what you want, there's a reason for it. And, you know, they had McMahon welcome the fans back on night one. That's where night one started. And every single thing felt like it mattered. Every single wrestler who came out during WrestleMania looked at the crowd and they seemed so happy. Even the, you know, the heels or the faces. I mean,
having Drew come out first. Was exactly that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, let's start there. Like, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. I really like that match.
I really like it. I kind of wish that Drew won just to have his actual moment in front of the fans.
I don't.
But
I'm a little bit sick of Drew at the moment. He's kind of been pushed down our throats a bit too much. And I honestly think, I'm going to pitch something here.
Go
I
on.
think they could have been even smarter with this. I think they should have kept the Hurt Business together,
Okay.
but have Drew and Bobby double turn. To
Okay.
have Drew turn heel, Bobby turn face. With Drew just relentlessly attacking everyone, even MVP, just relentlessly attacking them.
I mean, it's funny because I think Bobby is actually a better face than a heel, but I get why he's a heel.
I don't. I think he works better as the arrogant. Look at me. I hold every title. I'm going to murder everybody, because he's not the best talker.
Do you know what? I wonder. I could be wrong, but I wonder whether they're setting up Bobby, or even Roman Reigns to a certain degree, which we'll get to when we talk about Night 2. But I wonder whether they're setting up either one of those for a face Brock Lesnar at some point.
Probably Bobby. I was honestly expecting, when
because
the
I
MVP stuff was happening on Raw, I was expecting Brock Lesnar to just come out and be like, "Yeah, me."
Because if you bring Lesnar back, especially if you bring him back as a face, it will feel fresh. It will be a match that people want to see if you go down the Bobby route. And it's like,
as long as Brock loses.
And it's like Lesnar hasn't been a face for a long time. It would be interesting.
No, it was John Cena where he was the face, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he was Brock Lesnar. It's just people.
He was still the heel, but he, if you go back to his to think about Brock Lesnar as an actual face, where he is being booked as a face, the last time he was a face was his original run in the company.
I don't think it will ever happen.
You don't think so?
No, just because he doesn't stay around long enough.
Yeah, true.
I don't, and it's kind of, a lot of people are just kind of like, oh, Brock Lesnar again. He's going to come in, win the title. I think the only way it works is if he doesn't win.
So here's a question, actually. I want to ask this question because we were talking about Charlotte earlier as well, and about how when Charlotte comes around, people kind of go, "Oh, it's Charlotte again," and they do the same with Brock Lesnar. But with both of them, they do that and they still go, "Yeah, but they're amazing,"
because they are.
It's
just an over. We just see them too much in that spot when there are so many other people that do deserve a shot as well.
Do you think the reaction to Lesnar would be totally different if he was there every week, even if he was still in that spot all the time?
I think so, but I think it would just take a bit longer to get sick of him. I honestly don't mind him not being there all the time, because it does make it feel really important when he does turn up. And even when he's the champion.
Do you know what?
Because I not necessarily having that championship.
I want to give some credit to Lesnar as well. Because sometimes I think we've seen in the history of wrestling that sometimes people can get a bit too big for their own boots, and they don't want to put people over, and they don't want to do the right thing. And Lesnar doesn't feel like that guy.
No, if he likes you, he liked Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Keith Lee. Keith Lee, when he came in the Royal Rumble, he goes, "Oh, you're a big boy." Like Brock Lesnar, if he sells for you, it's the best thing for your career. Dean Ambrose, on the other hand, whoops.
It sounds like
that was a bit of a Dean.
According to Ambrose, anyway, it kind of sounds like that was Lesnar didn't want to do that match in the first place. So he just had no interest in.
It sounds like there was they just butted heads and they just didn't like each other. Because Dean, Moxley, he is his character. That's one thing, we'll get to her in a bit, but that's one reason I don't like Sasha Banks. I love her in wrestling. I tried watching her Steve Austin interview. I had to turn it off within 5 minutes. Because she just doesn't turn it off, and it's just really annoying. I think she is so interesting outside of the ring. I think if she turned it off and had a genuine conversation, it would have been really interesting, but she doesn't.
Some people can get away with not turning it off, though.
LA Knight.
LA that's Knight. True.
For sure.
But
sure.
yeah, I really liked this Drew and Bobby match.
I did. I genuinely did think that Drew was going to win, but I wanted Bobby to win. I think it does more for Bobby.
I'm kind of with you on that. Like I said, the only reason I wanted Drew to win is because I do think he deserves that moment in front of fans.
Sure. Sure.
You know, that was snatched away from him last year because of the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, he did a fantastic job in leading the company in that time as well, as did Roman, like when he came back.
So I think that Drew deserves that moment in front of fans. But
it will come. It's probably.
But also, it's one of the things where he probably will get that moment eventually.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely will.
I just hope it's not at Backlash. You know, I'm just trying to be optimistic. I assume that by SummerSlam time, hopefully we'll get to a situation where we've got fans on at least a more regular basis, even if it's a small number of fans.
Yeah, because the situation's a bit different over in America than it is over here. Yeah, they're not in a lockdown state everywhere.
No.
But no, I genuinely want Bobby to keep this title for a while because he has deserved it. And like when you like his Impact run, for instance, when he was the champion, like literally he held everything with MVP. He was fantastic.
Do you know it's a shame about the Hurt Business. This whole MVP thing kind of makes me a little annoyed that MVP doesn't wrestle anymore. Like there is no, it is fine, but there is a bit of me that's like, you're so good. You're so good.
But he's better as he is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have loved him and Shelton to team up because I think it was called Black Dynamite in New Japan when they teamed up, and they were awesome. I loved them.
Shelton's an odd one because he's another one a little bit like John Morrison, where when he came back, I was so excited because he is a genuinely amazing wrestler,
hugely underrated.
And then it's like, oh yeah, we're bringing you back, but we're not going to do anything with you.
Yes, so he got caught up in the same kind of.
We're going to announce that you're coming back.
No, sorry. Even before that, I was going to say he got caught up in the same sort of not quite racist stuff with WWE, like with Booker T as well, where he really looked like he was someone that could break out, but maybe his skin tone wasn't quite right. It's fucking disgusting to think about.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
But it was like they did the same thing with Booker T when both of those guys should have broke out and been absolute stars.
Yeah,
like Booker T did eventually get somewhere, but I think he could have been much bigger.
Yeah, than it almost felt like the funny, you know, it almost felt like because I remember that whole time, and it was like unless you were so good that we just couldn't hold you down, we would, and that is like let's just call it for what it is. That's fucking racist. You know,
it absolutely was. Like it's the same thing with like the women's glass ceiling. There was a colored black ceiling.
Yeah.
There was glass ceiling. Sorry, there was. It's such a shame because again, like Booker T could have been huge, and so could have Shelton.
The business seemed to be, and you know, let's take a little aside for a minute to talk about the business in general as fans. We don't know. You know, we're not in the business, but it always seemed, based on what we've heard and what we've seen, that there were these glass ceilings in place for people based on gender, based on skin tone, based on how you looked physically.
Yeah, based on size,
And we have slowly moved away from that over time.
Yeah. Because I mean that time period was terrible.
Been a thing in the first place.
No, I mean that time period was terrible for it. That's why we got Chavo Guerrero as Korean bloody white, where he literally said, "If it's not white, it's not right."
Yeah,
it's like I get the play, but you were fucking stupid. Or when they had what they called the Mexicals, super crazy, and that coming down on lawnmowers, is like,
or even more recently, where it's like, you know, I think to when Jack Swagger was in WWE.
Yeah.
And that was like, no, don't do this. Yeah. Don't do this.
And they tried to make him face.
Yeah.
They tried to make him the good guys. What the fuck?
And it's also the thing of like, oh, every single wrestler who's not white is basically a bad guy. at some point. You know,
Yeah. It's always the foreign heel, wasn't it?
It was Rusev. It was. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's just
even
like,
back to like Love Resistance.
and it's just
They
like,
were
what
great.
the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is so bad.
That like every time they ever had a USA chant going, I'm always like, especially when it's like a Canadian and like an Australian in the ring. It's like, are you okay, guys?
Yeah,
Are you paying attention?
100%.
But
But the reason I wanted to take that aside as well, and I'm actually going to talk about it now. Let's flip it now. Let's talk about the main event because this main event was a huge moment.
Yeah, very, very, very important
for
moment.
breaking these ceilings that we've been talking about, and also it was a moment that actually brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah,
like it actually.
Neither one of them could hold it together.
No,
like Sasha being a bit more experienced was able to hold it together a bit more.
So
and
if you don't know, the main event of night one was Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca won, rightfully so.
Absolutely,
it needed to happen.
Yeah.
And as you say, they both came out to the ring. They made their entrances, and I think it was this pouring of emotion of like, first time ever that two black women have main evented WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But also obviously the fans being back. I think the reason that Bianca probably couldn't hold it together as easy is not only experience, but she knew she was winning. Like she knew.
Sure.
And that moment, like you see the tears in their eyes, you see what it means to them. And you see how important, you know, I saw so many tweets of little girls, like little wrestling fans, you know, their families kind of tweeting out like, my little girl's so happy when Bianca won and stuff like that. And it's like how important representation is. And I think WWE have just started to figure that shit out.
Just going between NXT and WrestleMania, most matches are like Bobby Lashley, MVP, Drew McIntyre, black guy, Scottish guy, Natalia, Tamina, Liv Morgan, like huge amount of range in there. Cesaro, Swiss.
At the end of the day,
Omos,
it felt like it. And maybe it's just us. I don't know. Maybe it is just us. Leave a comment down below. But this event felt significant in terms of representation and in terms of kind of moving the ceilings. And I don't know whether it's because the fans are back and they're like, okay, let's prove a point. Like
they've kind of got a bit of a fresh start almost with fans coming back, but it does feel like a big deal. I mean, you look at like the guest starter for night one, it was Bad Bunny. Who barely speaks English. He's a
who also did incredibly.
He did. He really did.
You know,
he was made to feel like a huge star. So it is WWE going back to the we are a worldwide thing. This isn't just an American thing. This is worldwide. People from all over the place watch it. All over the place can wrestle here and should be champions.
And
huge. They got a huge amount of diversity.
As I said, I want to talk about this main event because for me, this is one of the best women's matches. Or actually, no, I'm not even going to say that. This is one of the best matches, period, that I've seen in a very long time. I think both of these women did an incredible job. You know, the bit where during the finish, when kind of leading to the finish, where Bianca whips Sasha with the hair.
Yeah, like
and you hear it, and it actually cuts her, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, brutal.
But Bianca feels like a star, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like she's got power, she's got athleticism.
Yeah, she is. She's a perfect all-rounder. I think she's not quite there yet, but she's definitely well on her way. I think
the one issue she has right now, but I get it, is that she can't contain, and it's not even just during WrestleMania, there have been a few weeks prior where it feels like she can't contain her excitement for what she's doing.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though. I think they can, if you
They
weave
can
it
play
in
that
right,
into the character,
yeah,
but it
it would
feels a little
just make her a bit more relatable.
But it feels that. But what I mean is, and I don't mean it to sound really negative, but it just feels like because it's not weaved into the character at the moment, it feels very out of place. Of like,
Yeah, I disagree.
really,
100% disagree. It humanizes her.
yeah.
It makes because take for instance when
But do
Jack
you not
Swagger won
think?
the world title, he just stood there and was like, "Yeah, I won the world title." It makes it feel
No,
far
no,
more
I
important when she's
agree.
like breaking down and stuff.
I agree. No, I agree with all that stuff. But what I mean is, there are moments where it feels like she should be being serious, and then you see the smile because it's like, oh no, I'm having too much fun.
Nah, I've never. It kind of fits because she is really cocky as well.
Yeah, true.
She is
True.
really like
I
she
think
should be a heel for all
I
intents
think
and purposes,
I
but
think
she's
the
just so
one
loved.
I think the one that sticks out to me that made me think this, I guess,
Mm.
was there was a promo a couple of weeks ago, maybe, on
Okay.
SmackDown where she was talking to Sasha. You know, they were in the ring, and it's like she's basically challenging her to the match, right? And and it just felt like she kind of it felt like it should have been a really serious thing, but every time she went to say something, she couldn't help but kind of laugh a little bit. And then it was making Sasha smile as well. And it's like, I get that that is lovable, but it also feels like you're breaking character at the same time because it doesn't feel like it's part of your character yet. Does that make sense?
I mean, it's just part of who she is. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me at all.
Yeah.
I think like put yourself in her shoes. Even as a character, like she's incredibly young. There's a lot of faith in her.
Mm-hmm.
She's being pushed to the moon.
100%, 100%.
In reality,
And
even
with
in a
this,
character standpoint, why would you not be giddy? Like,
no, I agree, but this is exactly what I was kind of trying to say is I'm not trying to be too negative. I just hope that they let the character be her, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Rather than, make it her character is what I'm saying. Make her who she is.
yeah, I mean, she just is.
Yeah.
She's fine. I think it would be an issue if she was the heel,
Yeah.
but she's not the heel, so I don't think it's an issue.
True, true.
I think if she was the heel, it would be an issue then, but she's
Yeah.
not. She is the babyface.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm all good with it. I think it's fine. I'm a little bit more down on the match
Okay.
because it did. I don't know if it was down to like the stuff being slippery and stuff, but there were a couple of like small slips and botches and stuff like that.
I can take a
and I'm not
botch
the
though,
biggest.
here and
I
there.
can as well, but I'm not the biggest fan of Sasha Banks either.
Okay.
I think she's fantastic in the ring, but she just annoys me.
Is she
Because
not
she
meant
can
to?
not in the aspect that they want it to.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
more her as a person annoys me.
Okay, interesting.
Numerous reasons I won't get into. I love Bianca though. I'm so happy
Did you see the moment?
she picked up the win,
Did
which
you
went
see the
backstage.
moment? Yeah, with
Yeah,
Montez
when
forward.
Montez just picked her up. I want them to be like a power couple
They
thing.
need
I
to
think
be
that'd
a
be
thing.
incredible.
Yeah.
I think she's fantastic. I'm so
Do you
happy
know
that she
what
won.
got me about that moment? And this is the last thing I'll say on the Bianca thing. Is like he picks her up, he carries her down those steps, he puts her down, and she goes, "I did it," and it's like that is so amazing.
Exactly. Like that is like she is just being herself.
Yeah.
I love her to bits. I think she's incredible. I think she's going to be
it's just an
so
odd
good.
thing for me. It's just an odd thing for me because I'm someone who still likes the characters in wrestling. Like I want them to be relatable, but I also want them to feel like a character. And at the moment with Bianca, she just feels like herself. And that's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just a little bit odd to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. I mean, not everything is going to be for everyone, sort of thing.
No.
I don't think there's a problem, but I think she is just being her at the moment.
It'll be interesting to see where they go with her now that she is champion, though, because
I do wonder.
I think they find it hard sometimes with face champions, as like, where do we go? Because they often slip into doing exactly the same thing.
A lot of the problem is some people are just better in the lead up.
Yeah.
Than they are actually having the title. Like Seth Rollins felt like that for a good while. He did feel like when he was face, he was way better at chasing Brock Lesnar than he was actually with the title.
Yeah, I agree.
But second match of the night. So we've done the
main event and we've done the first match.
Two very important matches. The second match, I actually really enjoyed. I thought the tag team turmoil match was a lot of fun. So who else was in this? So Natalya and Tamina won. There was the Riot Squad. There was Carmella and Billie Kay, who was hilarious, but I think
and then there was just the best moment where Mandy Rose slipped on
fell
the stage.
On her ass, she played it off. I quite like them as a tag team.
Yeah, but it was the.
I think they worked, but
it was the whoa.
Yeah. But she got up and laughed it off, and like on Raw the next night, she like made a joke about it. I like Mandy Rose now. For a long while, I didn't like her.
It's not quite the Titus O'Neil sliding under the ring moment.
I mean, nothing will beat that. That's the best thing that's ever happened in wrestling.
I mean, the guy could have killed himself doing that.
He actually could have. Like, imagine if he impaled himself or some shit. I thought this was a very good match. I am slightly gutted that Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott didn't win.
Okay.
Because they should be the tag team champions. They are phenomenal. I think Liv Morgan has got a hell of a future.
Yeah, it's weird because I love them in the ring, but something about them just doesn't click with me.
Well, it's because they haven't got, but other than they're a tag team and they've got slight individual personalities, they haven't been given characters.
Yeah, true.
They don't get given enough to do on TV. Like Mandy Rose is just going to be the girl that fell on her ass who looks pretty and is pretty strong at the moment.
Here's the question.
Yes.
Obviously, you wanted them to win, right? Mm-hmm. Like in you. But do you feel like the right team won this match?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy with either Natalya. I like Natalya and Tamina as a tag team because it makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird because I also didn't think their team would work, but it does.
It makes a lot of sense because they are kind of similar in the ring. They are veterans who are very good.
Yeah.
And they obviously have the heritage of their families.
Do you know what I like about it? It gives Tamina a chance to actually shine because she's never really been given a chance.
We'll get to it later. But yeah, I completely agree. We will get to it a bit later.
Yeah.
Because I have things to say.
Okay.
About the tag team match. But yeah, I like these two teams. I think they're fantastic teams, and they're teams that the division should be built around because they are actual teams. Like the Riot Squad is an actual team and they feel like an actual team. Natalya and Tamina feel like they should be together. It makes sense. They're not just put together for no reason, even though they slightly are.
Yeah,
I just saw that message as well. I'm not sure I'm not sure which podcast he's talking about, but
no.
that's a thing off screen. But no, I thought this was a really fun match. I don't like Billie Kay and Carmella being together. I think that's just put together to.
That felt like it was thrown together just to have an extra team.
It was thrown together. Why not? Why break up the Iconics? The Iconics was so funny and so talented.
What they should have done with this whole moment is they should have had Billie Kay going around backstage trying to find a partner, and then have her come out on her own to start with.
That should have been Royal Rumble.
And that, yeah.
Because they met in the Royal Rumble again, and they hugged. And then after the Royal Rumble, that should have been them getting back together.
Yeah, it's so
because they split, and then they both went into stupid random tag
I don't
teams,
understand. Maybe you can explain it to me, Luke. I don't understand why WWE do this sometimes, where they know they've got one of the best things in the world, and then they're like, "No, we're just going to throw it in the bin."
Because it's not what Vince wants.
Yeah,
it's the same with Balor. Like Vince didn't think he was over.
But why does Vince make the product for himself? Surely it makes more sense to make the product stuck in his way. The fans.
So, tangent then. We'll do a very, very quick tangent. The biggest problem with Vince McMahon is not Vince McMahon; it's the company he surrounds himself with. He hires people who agree with him and won't challenge him.
Yes, men, right?
Yeah. So
I
John
think I
Laurinaitis has
heard...
just come back, who is notorious for being, that's a good idea. It's like, well, no, challenge him.
Yeah.
He needs people that challenges him.
So I recommend Chris Van Vliet's interview with Freddie Prinze Jr., who, if you don't know, was a writer for WWE.
Yes.
And he actually said during that interview that Stephanie told him, during his run as a writer, she was like, if you believe something and you know you can make it work, challenge Vince.
Absolutely.
Because he actually does appreciate people who challenge him.
Yeah.
But he surrounds himself with the people who will
That's the thing that really
agree,
confuses me, because even on the Jericho Broken Skull sessions, even Jericho said that. Jericho, I can't remember what he was saying, that he just used a random example of a match, and he was like, yeah, we're going to do this and this, and he turned around and was like, Vince just goes, what about this? And then it's like 100 times better. We never thought of that.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel like Vince gets to do that because of the people he surrounds himself with.
Yeah, because it's almost like Vince. I think the way that Jericho put it is Vince will have great ideas, but he needs people to play off with other information.
Yeah,
if it's just his idea, and then people go, sometimes it's gold.
Yeah,
but a lot of the time it doesn't quite work because he doesn't have the people challenge what he's saying.
I do wonder how much of it is Vince and how much of it is just kissing up and politicking and stuff like that behind the scenes.
For sure. And we'll never know that stuff. But I thought
for sure.
I do recommend that Freddie Prinze Jr. interview because
I actually haven't seen that one.
Chris Van Vliet is amazing. Shout out to him.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where, as a last bit on that interview before we get back to reviewing WrestleMania, Prince Jr. is talking about how it was him who wrote the storyline for Jeff Hardy to become the world champion back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And the reason he did that was because he said to Vince, if you look at Hardy's merchandise numbers, there's no reason he shouldn't be the world champion. He is, without a belt, he is one of the biggest merchandise sellers in the company.
Yeah. I mean, that's why New Day now are like 11-time tag champions.
Yeah. It's like make him the champion. But I think sometimes people, it sounds like, based on everything we hear about the writers, it almost sounds like some of them are a little bit scared of Vince and a little bit intimidated, where they know that something doesn't work, or they know that another thing would work, but they don't want to challenge Vince because they're scared of... One of the things Prince Jr. says is he didn't need the job, he wanted the job. Whereas some of these other writers need 100%, the job, so they don't want to challenge Vince to the
very quickly. This will be the last thing we touch on because I really want to talk about the next match.
Yes.
It does sound like Vince does have trust issues. He does have a circle of people that he trusts.
He also
that is something that Chris Jericho brought up.
He does have a circle of people who've served him very well, though.
Absolutely.
People...
Oh, yeah, for sure. It is just...
like your Pat Pattersons and such over the years.
Yeah.
They've done wonders for the industry.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I feel like we all shit on Vince.
It's because he's just he is just the figure at the top.
But the thing about Vince is, I said it to you the other day, Luke, in episode 1, that when Vince needs to deliver, when the WWE needs to deliver, they know how to deliver.
Yeah.
And Vince delivers WrestleMania every time. And I do think this next match shows that.
This was a good match. My boy Cesaro versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
This was phenomenal. It feels like Seth is doing a run where he's just putting over people at the moment, whether it's Buddy Murphy,
it feels like he's going around saying, I am the god, so I will put you over.
It feels like he's using his power to get people that aren't appreciated as much.
And it's weird because Rollins doesn't feel like he should be in that place of putting people over yet.
But he's always done it.
Yeah.
he's always done it from like even in NXT days. He was doing it. He did it with Jason Jordan, but this match was incredible.
Yeah,
It was so
was.
good. It's
when
my
Cesaro
favorite match.
span him 23 times. It's like,
well,
okay.
I mean, I count that as more because he did the airplane one first.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
UFO he calls it because he
The
does it with no
UFO.
hands.
Yeah, with the no hands, that was amazing. I don't know how he did that.
Match. It's just such a great match. I love Seth Rollins so much. I love Cesaro so much. I'm so happy. I really hope that this is leading to something. I'm so glad
they gave Cesaro the win.
Yeah, they couldn't not.
Because they also, but it felt like one of those things where traditionally they never would have given Cesaro the win.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But they also built up the fact that Cesaro had never won at Mania, kind of thing.
Look at it last year. Rollins did the exact same thing with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, true.
He gave him a WrestleMania moment.
True. Speaking of, I mean, the best WrestleMania moment Rollins has had is still taking that RKO though, off the back of Randy the other year.
Was that WrestleMania?
Yeah. That was same. That was the same Mania where he cashed in, right, to win the belt.
Oh.
Maybe
I didn't watch that one, but I saw clips of it, and it looked like it was from like tribute to the troops.
Okay, interesting. Maybe that is another future episode we should do. Best WrestleMania moments. That would be a good one.
Yeah.
So, after the great match of Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, what did we get to?
Tag team title match. AJ Styles and Omos versus the New Day.
I enjoyed this.
This was a very good match. It was very well put together. New Day made this match.
When Xavier Woods was like, "We're cutting the ring in half."
Yeah.
You're not a good tag team wrestler.
I love Xavier Woods so much.
He was basically trash talking AJ.
He was
commentating on the match while he was wrestling him. It was really odd.
I think it was just very clever. It was very, very clever. Even at the beginning when Omos was going to start and they were like, no, hold on. AJ, you're going to hide behind him? Come on. Yeah. It was great.
And do you know what? I want to give AJ props here because this also feels like a storyline that AJ wants to be part of.
Oh yeah,
because he doesn't have to team with this big guy who's nobody right now. No disrespect to Omos, but he's nobody right now. But him being with AJ makes him somebody.
Yeah, he is just a big dude at the minute. But my God, when he comes in and like he's just standing there, and Woods and Kingston are just hitting him and nothing. Even like Woods like drop kicks him and he doesn't budge.
Yeah, he literally doesn't move.
It's so good.
The only time he moved, and you catch it on the camera if you're really paying attention, is he wobbles when AJ does the jump off the top of his shoulders.
Oh yeah, of course. But that was such a cool thing.
Yeah,
so cool. It wasn't a great match, but it was a great match.
It was a great match to what it needed to be, right?
Yeah, it wasn't like a great technical match or something. It was a great, fun, made sense match. I'm loving. And I love how tiny the belt looks when Omos is holding it.
Yeah.
It looks like he's holding like a kid's title belt. I think they're going to be really cool.
And it's that thing of he did the manhandling thing really well as well, where it's
just flips Kofi over like nothing. Like
and it's not even that, but like. He's a big dude in terms of being tall, but he's not big in terms of, he's not Braun Strowman big.
No, it's weird because if he was a normal sized human being, he would be stacked. Yeah. But because he is so big, it doesn't look like he's as big, like wide sort of thing.
Yes, yeah. But what I mean is for a big man, that actually makes him quite a bit more agile. Yeah, because he is pretty
quick as well. Yeah.
He's quick. He can pull off these moves quickly.
So tall.
He looks like he's doing them ridiculously easily as well. Like
yeah. I'm very excited.
He's picking up Woods and Kingston like they're flyers. Do you know what I mean?
I don't want to see him fight another big guy because that doesn't make sense.
No,
it's always crap when big guys fight big guys.
No,
but I'm quite excited. I want to see what Omos does.
And do you know what I actually really appreciated about this whole thing was once Omos was in the ring, AJ was over there in the corner shouting at him the whole time, saying things to him.
Yeah. There is probably some element of training going on between those two as well.
Yeah, but
AJ is probably teaching.
But I love that because you know that AJ knows, right?
Oh yeah,
and anybody's gonna
100%.
learn from AJ.
Yeah.
And then when you've got people like the New Day across from you in the ring, they know what they're doing. Absolutely. They know what they're doing, and they know they're also those type of wrestlers again that is like they know when to put someone over and they know how to put someone over. And the fear on their faces sold Omos to me.
My only complaint, why couldn't this be Shelton and Cedric? Why couldn't they do that? Why did it need to be the New Day?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think Shelton and Cedric would have done it as well, to be honest.
I think they easily could have.
Really?
I really think they easily could have, because Shelton's fantastic. So is Cedric. I think the only issue is that they didn't want to turn him face.
Yeah, maybe. And now they kind of...
And now they are. But, well, they're not. They are just kind of going to float around. Yeah, which sucks because it was so good together.
Now. They're tweeners right now.
Well, they're not even that. They're just around.
Yeah, true.
Sort of thing, which is a shame.
So, moving on. What do we
have
next?
Another big man. We got Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon.
This was mega fun.
I genuinely thought I was going to hate this match. Genuinely thought I was going to hate it because I don't like Shane.
Matches of night one, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it was better. I think it was more fun.
Yeah,
I think it was one of those really fun matches. Like, there are no bad matches on this, like on night one. There are good matches or there are really fun matches.
Yeah,
and this was a fun match.
Yeah,
fun match. I always like it happens every single time. I hate Shane McMahon weekly,
but once he gets in the ring,
the big match when he's actually getting on with it, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
like he's a lot of fun. I love it.
And I'll tell you what, when so Strowman went over, obviously, but so there's two moments in this match where it was like, this is sick. One is where he rips the cage literally really off the hinges. Like,
I really appreciated that because I genuinely thought they were going to do the thing where Strowman throws him through the cage and that's how Shane wins. Yeah. Which I would have I would have still bought that.
It would have been like, okay,
he
it plays
threw
into
him
the
through
story.
The cage.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they did that because it was way cooler.
And then it's that thing of when he threw him off the top of that cage. Oh my God.
Did you see how close he was to land it on his head?
Yeah.
Oh, he under-rotated slightly.
Yeah.
So he landed on like the top of his back and shoulders.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what.
He would have broke his neck.
But I'll tell you what. That moment of him getting thrown from the top of that cage was like Braun just going, "Who's stupid now?" And like it felt like he chucked him full force.
This is another one. This is one of those matches where the build has been absolutely dog shit.
Yeah,
the build has been dumb.
Mm-hmm.
There's, even as much as I hated him doing all the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens stuff and the AJ Daniel Bryan stuff, those had some semblance of some sense to them. Mm-hmm. This one being built around Braun Strowman stupid is just so dumb.
This felt like a last-minute match where it was like,
no, because it's been built for like 2 months.
Yeah. But what I mean is, it felt like a last-minute match in the sense that maybe they weren't originally going to go with Shane.
Right.
Maybe it was going to go in a different direction and something didn't pan out.
I don't know, because this kind of feels like what Braun Strowman does now. On Mania, he is always that, unless something happens, like Roman Reigns falls out, he is that kind of attraction match. He's not that important match.
Why do you think that Strowman doesn't have the trust to be the main guy? Because he should be, right? To a certain degree.
I don't know. I think they've just used him wrong. I think he should have been a monster heel. I think he should have just destroyed people.
Yeah.
He got too cartoony, I think, and then
he almost became a parody of himself. Yeah,
exactly. And then when he lost to Lesnar, it was like, okay, cool, that's it.
Yeah.
He missed his time almost. Because now, anytime, like on the Raw after, he put himself in for a number one contender spot for the
and it just
WWE title.
Feel right, does it?
And like when he stepped up, I was like, okay, so Drew's gonna win then. Like he just doesn't feel like a legitimate guy. He does feel like that kind of joke.
I think they can save it for him. I don't think it's over yet because
I don't know.
because
I think they can, but it would
he
be a bit
has
of
to
a
go back.
miracle at this
He
point.
has to go back to being heel again, but they could almost hit a reset with him. I think
The problem is he should have been what Big Show should have been.
Yeah,
but he just feels like what Big Show was.
Yeah, I know.
Because, I mean, he's turned heel and face quite a lot.
Yeah.
He is literally just new Big Show.
Yeah.
He's not like what he should have been, which is a shame because he's in fantastic shape now.
Yeah.
Like he's bulked up. He looks incredible.
Yeah.
I think there is so much they can do with that kind of guy, but I think he is quite limited in a lot of aspects. And WWE aren't good at hiding that.
It almost feels like that thing what Triple H said before, where the reason there are ceilings for people in WWE to a certain degree is because everyone has their part to play.
Yeah.
And Strowman has his part to play.
Yeah.
Right.
And like in all credit, this was a really fun match. This wasn't like the tag team match with that little kid.
Yeah.
Where it felt stupid and I hated it.
Do you know that tag team match, originally there was... So originally at one point, there was a plan for it to be Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of changed it at the last minute, it sounds like. So I don't know. I don't know whether that one was on. I don't know whether that one was on kind of Strowman's...
Well, I mean, Lashley came out the next day then, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Odd. But no, it was really fun.
Fun match.
Yeah, and then what else did we have? We had
another
the Bad Bunny
match. So this is the last one we'll talk about from night one. We had Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus Miz and John Morrison. And Bad Bunny was awesome.
The star of this match.
He was so good. Like at first he was getting over Miz and Morrison, and then like they double teamed him and started beating him down and were doing the classic heel, keeping him in their corner thing. And he looked great.
Yeah. Well, do you know what I heard? So do you know what I heard about this? Apparently, he moved to Tampa.
Yeah.
To train at the Performance Center for like 2 months.
Yeah. He got properly into it. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if if he does keep popping up to some degree.
Yeah. And I saw a Bully Ray tweet.
Oh yeah.
About this match where he basically turned around and said, the thing about this match that is great is it shows you how good Miz and Morrison are as professionals, as wrestlers. It shows you how good Priest is as someone to kind of protect.
Priest is fantastic.
Yeah. And then it shows you the respect that Bad Bunny has for the industry.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he actually went out there and did the best he could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he wanted to do things. He didn't want to just be the celebrity guy.
This is kind of a thing WWE have kind of been missing when they get in celebrities in. They kind of just be like, who's a big name? Yeah. When they should be like, who's a big name? That also really actually gives a shit about wrestling. They did it really well with Stephen and Mel.
I was going to say, the last time it felt like they did this was Stephen and Mel. Like, because I don't count Rhonda because Rhonda is an athlete who... Yeah, and she signed up to actually... a celebrity, but she could be, Amel...
she wasn't treated like the celebrity spot.
Amel was the last one where it kind of felt like to a certain degree... Bad Bunny is the same, a little bit lesser than Amel, but it kind of feels like if they wanted to be a wrestler, they could.
Yeah, because Amel's already in that sort of condition.
Yeah,
like he did Ninja Warrior.
But that Bunny Destroyer, as I believe Booker T called it, Bunny Destroyer.
I was sat there like, yeah, this is cool. What's he doing? Yeah, he's gonna powerbomb him. He fucking hit him with a Canadian Destroyer. I was like, what the hell? That was sick. I lost it. I texted my brother. I'm like, he just hit a Canadian Destroyer because my brother skipped the match because he doesn't care.
Oh, wow.
And I almost did because I hate Miz Morrison at the moment.
Yeah.
I absolutely detest what they're doing.
I did laugh at their entrance.
I hated it. I thought it was shit. I absolutely hate how shit Miz and Morrison have been ever since Morrison's come back.
Yeah,
but on Raw, I don't think they're going to, but on Raw, there was a little bit of it seemed like Morrison was being left out a bit.
Yeah.
Because Maurice was the guest because the new season of Miz and Morrison was coming up.
That's where they're
Miz
going to
and
lead
Mrs.
eventually. I do think it's where they're going
I
to
hope
lead
so. I just hope
eventually.
they do it before it's too late.
The thing about Morrison is he can be a top mid-card guy.
He can be a top guy. He's been a top guy everywhere else.
That's true. He's been a top guy everywhere else. But I just think about the traditional kind of WWE, the way they do things.
I mean, we've got Bobby Lashley, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns. I don't think this is traditional WWE anymore, dude. I think we are genuinely seeing there is some evolution here. Yeah. But Miz and Morrison need to split up because they are so shit together.
They do.
I hate them.
But they also need to do it in the right way. It can't just be, oh, we're on our own now.
No, it needs to be Miz turns on Morrison.
Yeah.
It needs to be either that or it needs to be Morrison's like, well, screw you guys sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't care how it happens. It can be shit for all I care, but as long as they are apart, because they are horrible together.
Yeah, it's weird. Now. It's weird because they were so good together the first time round.
They were fine in the beginning when they came together. It just feels like it's been too long. It feels like they should have separated ages ago.
Yeah.
Because now, how many more stupid bloody songs are we going to get? How many more, like, how much... What is it with WWE making people stupid?
I don't know.
Like Riddle, Morrison, Shane McMahon, they all have to be stupid for some reason. Just stop it.
Let's move on because I want to talk about night 2 because there's some amazing stuff here and we've been going for quite a while.
Stuff as well.
So yeah.
So we'll start off with the terrible.
I think we should start off with the terrible things. Randy Orton.
Orton and the Fiend.
Was
apparently this got changed.
Oh.
Apparently the Fiend was meant to win.
The
Fiend lost.
So
and I get it.
I want to put it this way a minute. What I don't get is this should have for a start, this should have been a lot bigger than it was. It should have, it felt like an inconsequential match, really. And the way that the match finished, it was just like, it wasn't even intrigue. It was just like, what the fuck's happening?
Let me tell you this. It was the shortest match between both nights of WrestleMania and Takeovers. It's literally 5 minutes long. So essentially what happens is the Fiend comes out of this jacket box. The entrances are sick.
Entrances are amazing.
Not Randy Orton's, because Randy Orton just took too long and they had to play his music again.
Yeah.
Which was horrible. It was shit. I hated it. His white gear looked really crisp.
It did. But that Fiend,
the Jack in the Box stuff was awesome. And then he jumps off Jack in the Box. And then, like, my favorite bit of the match is when Randy drops him on the announce table and he just bounces up and takes him down.
I don't know about you, but I think they need to get rid of that horrible lighting. Like, it doesn't need to happen.
I'm okay with the lighting. I'm not okay with the Fiend being used so much. I think it's a rare thing we should see every now and again. Because he's not a character who needs to wrestle all the time. He's not a character that needs to
fight as Bray, right?
Sometimes. No, I don't think he does.
Really, you don't think?
I really don't think he does. I don't think. Maybe if you did like a Mankind thing, where you do see Bray a bit more, maybe. But I really don't think we need to see the Fiend win a title. I don't like because he's a character.
Yeah,
he's not someone who cares about titles or anything like that.
No.
Maybe have it where
his motivations need to be more clear, though.
I mean, maybe have it. Well, I mean, I think his motivations are pretty clear, to be honest. I think so far, since he's come back as the Fiend, he's going in reverse and taking out people who have wronged him.
Yeah.
So far. So it does kind of make sense to me.
But then how the match finished is like, what the fuck?
So yeah, the way the match finished was terrible, but I kind of understand it.
We basically had Senua for gaming fans out there.
Yeah, I thought that. I was like, oh, it's Hellblade. This is cool. So Alexa Bliss pops out on the top of the Jack in the Box and distracts him. And I wouldn't have minded that if it wasn't one RKO and then a pinfall.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's really weird. But hold on, sorry.
Go on.
Fiend gets straight back up, though. So, I don't know. I think I get the idea. I get that they want to do Alexa versus the Fiend because they're doing that. Alexa has realized that actually maybe I don't need the Fiend to be powerful.
Yeah. But it still just doesn't make sense to me because it's like, why? Why do, it doesn't, to me, the motivation for what Alexa did in distracting the Fiend and causing him to lose just doesn't make sense with how the rest of the story's gone.
So like I said, on Raw, she has a promo where she says, they go through everything she did. So like from joining the Fiend and that, discovering the darkness, discovering the powers, and learning from him. But then something twigs in her mind, and she's like, maybe I don't need him to be powerful. Maybe I can just be powerful. But this isn't something that was planted. Maybe if Fiend goes over and then you see something, like you see, kind of like, just again going back to NXT, it's like NXT did with Adam Cole and that. You saw that Cole was looking at the title. He wasn't looking at Kyle O'Reilly. He was looking at that, it is just not very good storytelling. It's not very good execution.
Yeah, I agree.
And in all fairness, this angle has been going on for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It should have ended ages ago.
I think that they're in danger of... I could be wrong, but for me at least, I think they're in danger of wearing people out on the Fiend.
Yeah, so I don't think we should...
Because it feels like he never really goes anywhere.
No. I don't think we should see the Fiend for a while.
Okay.
What I would like to see... So I think there's something really interesting they could do with it. I think they make Bray, as he is, into like a Mankind super babyface.
Okay.
Like, maybe he can have title matches. Maybe he has a thing where he's like, I'm going to be a wrestler. I'm going to fight all these people. I'm going to earn my spot, sort of thing.
Yeah,
kind of like Mankind did. But then he just never gets there, get him to a real babyface thing. And then the Fiend only comes out very, very occasionally, for whatever reason. I'm curious to see what they do with the Alexa stuff, because I really like Alexa Bliss. I think she's doing a really good job with this. I don't think anyone else could do this. I don't think a single other female wrestler could do this spot.
No, I agree.
And that's the only reason I'm interested in it, because these two are incredible characters.
And also, it made sense for her to do it, because when she first started doing it, if I remember correctly, she was on the no contact list. So she wasn't allowed to wrestle when she first started playing.
Yeah, she had an injury. One thing I will say.
Go on.
WWE need to pay Adam Blompier because he pitched this years ago.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. He pitched Alexa to pretend to be Sister Abigail, so she could get Bray to protect her and become a really dominant women's champion.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing. So they need to play Adam Blompier. But no, the match was terrible. I still love the Fiend character. I don't think Randy Orton was the right opponent for him.
No.
As much as I really do like Randy Orton, I think he's underrated. He doesn't work with some people very well.
To a certain degree, I don't think anyone is the right opponent for the Fiend, but I think that's because of how they've used the Fiend.
Yeah.
I think he's so overused.
This should have been a Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah.
And then if Alexa cost him in that, fine.
Yeah. And it's not even just that, but it's like, he's, as my final point on this match before we move on.
Yeah.
He's so overused, right? But he's overused to the point where they're actually in danger of killing something that should be the biggest thing they've had in years.
Yeah, I don't even think the issue is that he's overused. I think the issue is just that it's boring.
Yeah, because it never goes anywhere. It doesn't have the development.
It has developed Alexa Bliss's character.
Yeah.
And I think we did benefit from not seeing the Fiend for so long. But they need to just let Bray do what he wants. They need to just let Bray drive
the Fiend is one that was not on TV, and I'll tell you a little story here.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to SummerSlam in 2019. And I was in the WWE shop, right, where they were selling all the gear and stuff, and people were looking at the Fiend masks and everything like that. And next minute, out of a door comes the Fiend in like full costume.
Oh, cool!
In the proper mask, and he's just like freaking people out,
going
up to people's faces.
Yeah,
like doesn't say a thing.
Yeah,
and that was one of the best moments ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see what they do with this.
The biggest problem,
I just think the way that they did what they didn't work.
The biggest problem is that they're just not letting Bray Wyatt do this. Bray Wyatt should be wholly in control of this.
Yeah.
They should just give Bray Wyatt all of whatever he needs.
Yeah.
Because The Fiend makes a lot of money. We know that. A lot of his merch sells a lot. They wouldn't have put the title on him if that wasn't the case.
No.
And Bray is just so goddamn clever. He's so smart and he just gets it so much. Leave him alone. Let him do his thing. So, Nia Jax versus and Shayna Baszler versus Natalya and Tamina.
Yes.
I skipped it.
You skipped it?
I hate Nia Jax. I refuse to watch any of her matches.
Okay.
I do not like Nia Jax at all. I think she is terrible.
Okay.
I do not understand why they keep pushing her the way she does when Tamina is right there. Tamina is a good wrestler. She's a good character. She doesn't hurt people.
Yeah.
Most importantly, Shayna Baszler is just wasted.
Yeah, Shayna
Baszler is the one that keeps taking the losses. I just hate the whole thing. I skipped it.
What? So why do you hate Nia? Is it because she has a history of hurting people? What is it?
Terrible character, very entitled. She thinks she's way better than she is. Just everything. I do not like Nia Jax. She's not a good wrestler. Okay. And if she seemed like she was putting the effort in to improve.
Yeah.
And sure, but she doesn't. She just comes across, even like when she's responds to people online, she's extremely entitled. She is extremely like, no, you're wrong. It's like, well, not Io Shirai, sorry, Kairi Sane. That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
And I don't get why she keeps being put in a position.
One thing I will say, and I'm not necessarily defending Jax, but one thing I will say is any wrestler can hurt someone.
Yeah, but not on the consistency that she does.
No, but what I suppose what I'm trying to say is she doesn't. I don't think she goes out with the intention.
No. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she intends to. I just think she's bad.
Yeah.
I think she is bad at what she does, and it wouldn't be so bad because she is kind of being used as a joke character. But she's holding the women's tag team titles.
Well, look at what they did on Monday with her on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, she just kept slipping around.
And it's just like, really?
She slipped off the rope.
Really,
she slipped getting in the ring.
Do? Yeah.
It wouldn't be so bad if literally what could be the best women's wrestler in WWE isn't just attached to her dying.
Yeah.
Why is Shayna Baszler not killing people? She could literally be female Samoa Joe.
Yeah. Shayna
could be murdering people, but
what should be happening with Shayna right now is she should be the next challenger to Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
That's what should be happening.
I can't remember who said it, but there was someone pitched that because Rhea Ripley beating Shayna Baszler was the start of her downfall.
Yeah.
So that makes complete sense. And I really think so. I'm looking Nia Jax. I know I watched it. Nia Jax. Well, I didn't watch it. I skipped through. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler won.
Yeah.
Probably because of Shayna Baszler. Am I right?
I believe so.
It says submission.
It says submission,
so I assume so.
But one thing I will say,
Natalya and Tamina should have won.
One thing I will say is I agree with you, but Natalya and Tamina came out of this match the better looking team. Like they feel Natalya and Tamina feel like a team. Baszler and Jax feel like two individuals that have their place.
I genuinely don't get it. I get wanting to put some sort of title on Baszler. Team her up with Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
That makes sense. There's a connection there. There's some sort of and they are actually friends as well.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
I skipped it. Okay, there was one moment I want to talk about because I thought it was hilarious.
Go on.
There's a moment when Nia Jax swears and they bleep just after it. Yeah. She goes, shit, and then they blank out.
Yeah.
And it killed me. I thought it was really funny. Yeah. I don't know how I was skipping through. I wasn't actually watching it, but that was one bit it stopped on. It killed me. It was really funny.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't get like so many. Like they did it recently with Keith Lee, where they sent him back to the performance center. It's like Nia Jax needs that, or she just needs to not be on TV because it doesn't matter what she does, it's just awful. Whether it's just talking, whether she's in ring, it's just bad. Even if it's
the talking thing can easily be fixed by giving her a manager. That's easy enough. She's the right sort of character for a manager as well. Mm-hmm. She is the big woman powerhouse, and they do, and that is
she could have been Awesome Kong or Amazing Kong.
Yeah. And the thing is, that is something they need, but they also need her to be. They need her to be kind of refined to the point where she isn't going to hurt people.
I think the thing that annoys me most is, like I said, why Tamina is right there. Yeah. Tamina is big. She's powerful. She's good in the ring
for years, and she's never been given a chance. So,
no, I know. I honestly don't understand why Nia Jax gets given so many chances.
Yes.
When she's terrible. Like people, it sounds for a long while it sounded like people backstage hated her. After the Kairi Sane stuff, people wanted her head.
Yeah.
But nothing happened.
There was no sort of punishment. For a while, like, because it happened so regularly, it sounded like maybe they'd get rid of her.
The Kairi Sane stuff was week in and week out. Yeah. It was horrible to watch.
Yeah.
Horrible to watch.
Anyway, moving on to the next match.
Oh, this was a good one. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I love match.
Sami Zayn.
I disagree with the finish. I think Sami Zayn should have won, but either way, I'm happy. I think it was a very good match.
I think the way that you get away with Sami Zayn not winning is it can actually further his story.
Yeah, I think out of the two, I think Kevin Owens needed it more. I think Sami can take losses because he's the heel.
Yeah. And because of the type of heel he is as well.
Yeah,
because of the type of heel he is with the story that they're doing.
Yeah.
The problem is, I don't know where either of them go from here.
I don't know.
I really don't.
I do hope that Sami, like I said in the first episode we did, I'd love Sami to win Money in the Bank. I think he would be fantastic with Money in the Bank. I think there are multiple ways you could do it. Kevin,
do you know what I'd also like to see? I was thinking about this with Sami the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually quite like to see, just for intrigue and what they could do with it, is give Sami a group. Give him a group of wrestlers that he does persuade, right? That he persuades about this conspiracy.
Yeah.
Right? But have it be people that you don't expect. So for example, maybe it should have been that Owens eventually goes, "Oh, maybe you are right."
I kind of have a slightly different pitch for this. So two things. One, I'll get to that in a second. But one, I really think he should have joined Daniel Bryan when he was doing that Save the Earth thing.
That would have been great.
I think that would have been really cool. I think that would have fit really well because he does that. He's got the Sami for serious stuff. He does that stuff outside of the ring. Secondly, I want Sami Zayn to be right.
Yeah.
I want there to actually be a conspiracy.
Yeah, in the story.
And then it actually gets uncovered. Everyone's like, "Oh shit, okay." And then that's how he gets into
face, right?
No, I wouldn't turn him face. Well, maybe
but that's kind of how you turn him face with him having the same character.
Yeah, I'd still keep him as the exact same character because he's funny and he's great. Yeah. And I'd use that as leverage to get him in the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, even the bit. This is the thing. Even the bit with Logan Paul at the end worked because Sami made it work.
I mean, in fairness, Owens did as well. Like they're both as good as each other character-wise. They're fantastic. Yeah. I would love. I'm gutted that their tag team thing didn't go longer. I would have loved to see them with the tag titles.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that can happen down the line. But I'm not a big fan of Logan Paul. I've seen a couple of bits recently. He seems like a much better dude. I love how he took that stunner, where he flipped over. Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because it looked like it fucking hurt. It looked like he landed on his face.
Yeah.
But no, this again, same with Cesaro and Rollins. I think.
Do you know what?
It kind of stole the night for me.
I don't know about you. It kind of did. But
I just remembered the main event.
Yeah. So what I want to say is the thing about Logan Paul and the thing about Kevin Owens. Owens stunnered him and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it just is annoying because it feels like, and it's not just because of the stunner thing, it's because of what they've done with Owens. It feels like they're trying to make Owens Stone Cold.
I don't think they are.
And
I think the stunner is really the only connection. I think it does help that he is a relatable person. He doesn't look like every other WWE superstar. He doesn't. He's not motivated in the same way.
I think the stunner was actually his choice because I think
it was. Yeah, he went
asked
to
for permission to use
it.
it.
Yeah. He actually talked to Steve Austin about it. Yeah.
But I wish he wasn't using the stunner.
See, my brother says the same. I've got no problem with him using.
I don't have a problem with it, but I just like the pop-up powerbomb.
I do as well, but I think the issue is, one, you do need to change every now and again.
Yeah.
And two, the stunner can be hit out of nowhere on anyone.
True.
So I think having both work, because, if he ever goes into a match with Strowman, for instance, you can't realistically.
He's not going to hit the pop-up powerbomb.
Yeah, I mean, you can maybe do it, but it's not going to hit well.
Well, every wrestler, really, when you really think about it, every single wrestler eventually has two finishes.
Absolutely.
Because they have one for a big guy. They have one for everybody else.
Or you have that alternative, I'm going to take it to this level to finish them off sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens. Like,
so
the package pile driver he used to use, used to be his finisher.
True.
But now, a good match. Really
so yes, I enjoyed this match. It wasn't quite the night stealer for me that it was for you.
I thought it was very good, but then I also just remembered two other matches. So
yeah, that's the thing. There are two matches coming that I think are both great.
So next was Sheamus and Riddle.
This was amazing.
I really like this match. And the finish.
Oh my God.
Oh, the finish was great. It was stolen from Adam Cole and Ricochet.
I know it was, but even still.
It was great. Very good. I really like this. And it makes sense because Riddle was never meant to be the US champion. It was meant to be Keith Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a shame. I wonder what's going on with him. I know he was injured and there was
I'll tell you what though.
He got COVID,
I'll tell you what though. Sheamus, since he's gone back to original Sheamus, because that's what's happened. He's gone back to original Sheamus.
Yeah.
And my God, he should be a star again.
Excuse me. I was gutted when they split up the bar. Yeah. Because they were incredible. They were such a good tag team. They're one of the best WWE've ever put together.
Yeah.
But after that, he kind of just floated.
Sheamus.
Yeah. Now we've got Sheamus back as Sheamus.
This is literally OG
very,
Sheamus.
very good.
This is how he started in WWE.
Very, very good Sheamus. I love this. He didn't have anything to do on Raw the next night. He was just on
the second
Raw Talk.
The thing is, this was the match that was built in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
It was basically Sheamus beating Riddle up with the scooter.
Yep.
Which was amazing. He was like, have you the wheels and this?
Yes. Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, and this was for the build that this match had. This match shouldn't have been as good as it was.
No. I was worried that Riddle was actually going to win, but I'm so glad he didn't because it feels like they don't know what to do with Riddle, so they just.
I think it gives them a chance to go back to the drawing board with Riddle.
I actually don't think so.
Really?
I think he's pissed someone off.
Oh.
Because on Raw, he just gets fed to Bobby Lashley and Bobby Lashley kills him.
Yeah, true.
So I really think he's pissed someone off backstage.
Unless it means he's going back to NXT.
I would be very happy if they did that. Because it did kind of feel like he was... One, he didn't get to finish the stuff with Pete Dunne. Yeah. And two, it just felt like it was too soon.
But the other thing is, what I don't like about what they're doing with Riddle is it does actually feel like they're just trying to make him, in a weird way, not exactly the same, but it almost feels like they're trying to make him Rob Van Dam.
I mean, they did that spot.
Yeah.
That stupid thing backstage where Rob Van Dam and Great Khali.
Yeah. And it genuinely does. It feels like they're trying to make him in terms of his character and attitude.
The problem is, the difference was Rob Van Dam was just being Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
If they make Riddle, just like he was in NXT, that would work because they're not too sure they're both stoners and they play on that a bit, but they're also different personalities. Riddle is genuinely funny.
Yeah.
He is hilarious.
He doesn't need to keep going, bro. He doesn't need to keep doing
he does. But
He does, but not in the way that they're doing it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That is his thing. He was always the stoner character, even in NXT, but he wasn't as stupid and it wasn't as just crap. Just horrible.
And he wasn't going around on a scooter like a crazy...
I don't necessarily mind the scooter too much. I think that he can make it fun, but just... Yeah, I think him losing the title is good for him, as good as it is for Sheamus.
Yeah. I mean, Sheamus nearly took his head off with that kick, but...
Yeah, he fucking took it. He's like properly... I thought he might have lost a tooth, but luckily he just split his lip.
Okay. It added to it. It added effect to that drama.
Yeah, it did.
So...
he took it like a champ. What a spot that was. Apollo Crews versus Big E. I love Apollo Crews at the moment.
I do, but it's weird.
How so?
So what I mean is, obviously he's doing the accent thing now.
Cool.
I get that. That's fine. It plays into the character to some degree.
I'm pretty... so I've heard that's what he actually was like on the indies as well.
Yes, yeah, because the character he's doing now is a version...
Yuhan Nation, I think he was called.
Yeah. And I think the character he's doing now, from what I understand, is a version of his character.
It's basically just what he was on the indies, which is great.
However, it's that thing of, to me, the character change felt like it kind of almost didn't happen organically enough.
Yeah, okay, I get what you mean. It did feel a bit rushed.
Yeah.
But I don't care, to be honest. I really don't care, because Apollo Crews...
Do you think
he should be way bigger than he is?
Do you
think Yeah, I do. For numerous reasons. One, Apollo Crews has been disrespected for so long because he is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's great.
Like, he could be the best all-round in WWE.
And do you know what
he's strong, he's agile,
he's
quick.
About the way that he won is it's that thing of they can almost go into, I didn't need this guy to win because I'm that good, but that's the power I want it.
So the second reason Apollo wins is because Big E can move on.
Big E can move on, but again, Big E, a little bit like McIntyre, it felt like one of those things where it's like you're in Big E's hometown. This is
I actually thought that was really clever.
Run.
I actually thought that was clever.
It was, but they almost gave Big E the winner's entrance as well. Do you know what I mean? They do this thing at WrestleMania sometimes where it's like...
Oh, sorry, hold on. Talking about Big E, I forgot to mention his intro for the New Day.
Yeah.
Man, he gave it everything. He gave it all the beatings. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah,
he proper, for those watching, he did the intro to New Day's theme tune like live, and he just gave it everything. It was great.
Yeah.
I completely get you. I think I thought that Big E was going to win. I wanted Apollo to win.
Yeah.
Because I think Apollo is great, and I think they could do incredible things with his character.
This is one of those matches where either of them winning kind of worked.
Yeah. I think it made sense if Big E won, because he could continue this and go for other people, but it sounds like a while ago they wanted to push him, but people got injured and stuff like that. He got injured, so stuff had to change. So maybe they've reset. Good. He's fantastic. He is genuinely incredible.
His character work is amazing. I remember I can't remember exactly when it was, but there was one point when he was just like sat on commentary and he was just basically led there talking trash about whatever was happening in the ring. And it's like, this is amazing.
Yeah. He is great. He is gonna be a world champion.
Yeah.
I wonder if he is the one to beat Reigns.
Gets there though. Yeah.
Rumble. I imagine he's gonna win the Rumble.
Wow, you think it? Okay.
I imagine he's going to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't see him as Money in the Bank. I think he could
be interesting if he was, though.
I think he could. I think he is definitely a candidate for it. But Money in the Bank, kind of like King of the Ring, it's always better when a heel has it, because like, oh, you could cash it in, sort of thing. Not in the way that Miz did, because the Miz, it was terrible.
Yeah, true.
But no, I would have been happy with either of these. Apparently, they had no idea what a Nigerian drum fight was until the last minute, which is clear because none of those drums got used.
Yeah.
It was just kendo sticks. And when Apollo was... when Apollo lost his shit and he was just like smacking the shit out of Big E with it, and you saw the kendo stick disintegrate. Oh,
yeah,
great.
Brilliant.
I think the ending was a bit sloppy.
Yeah, it was,
and it
but
was
I'll forgive
probably
them for that.
it was probably just because maybe they were running a bit long or something like that. Maybe so it felt a bit rushed.
Because
it's
this
only got
guy,
6 minutes.
so the guy who ran in is the one who was Babatunde, right? Or Baba. Yeah,
Dabakato, I think he was called. I think his actual name is, but he's going to get a new name from the sounds of it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this, because I like the idea of Apollo having a Nation of Domination style like team.
Yes.
But he doesn't need a heater.
No, he doesn't. But I think it enhances that.
I think it can. Yeah.
This is what I was saying, is because they can play into the fact that he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, because it was weird. Like, they didn't use this big guy. It's really weird. So I'm just excited for whatever Apollo does.
100%,
I'm really
100%.
interested.
And then we get to the main event. I think the match that really everyone was looking forward to.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted this match to go a different way. Like, I'll be very clear. I wanted Edge to win.
You've skipped a match.
Have we?
Yeah, we've missed Rhea Ripley and Asuka.
Oh my god.
So we'll do that one first.
Yes.
And honestly, for good reason, it wasn't that good.
No,
it was fun,
but
it just it was missing something.
It was missing something, but
it needed what really needed to happen.
What it needed to for Ripley, though.
What really needed to happen is Rhea to dominate Asuka, but that shouldn't have ever happened because it was Asuka.
Yeah.
If Charlotte Flair was holding that title, then maybe she could have done that and just come in and completely dominated her. But it just didn't quite hit right for me.
Yeah,
I thought it was good, but it just didn't quite get there.
It was good, but it wasn't as good as the previous night's women's title match. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. That being said, looking at the two women's champions, oh my god, what a future we have! Because Rhea Ripley's like 25.
All hell women's wrestling, eh?
Yeah, man.
Like, I'll tell you what, this is one of the changes that I personally would make, because week to week, I think the use of the women is awful on normal shows.
Yeah.
They need to either give the women their own show, which is like an hour long.
Nope.
Or they need to give them more time on the main shows.
So this is something we'll talk about in our maybe next week, maybe in like when we just pitch random things.
Yeah.
There's a good reason they don't have their own show, because they definitely talked about it.
It's because most people wouldn't watch it, right?
Exactly. People just wouldn't tune in. Like, a lot of people would, because most people aren't jackasses.
Yeah.
But there are still the people like, women's wrestling,
what's the point?
Women's football, women's everything.
But this is kind of my thing, is like, I would still like, I want a 20-minute women's match on Raw. I don't want a 5-minute match.
What they could potentially do is have, I think I said it in the last episode, where I wish like Main Event or something like that was on YouTube and used in that way to kind of bridge the gap, instead of you having to pay for it on WWE Network and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Maybe they should do that and have a women's only. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
maybe bring back Evolution again.
I do think they need to change something. I think they do really well with the women at the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Because they give them the time.
Yeah.
They need to improve the week-to-week usage.
How about
in terms of giving them the time?
This isn't one I would actually do personally.
Go
on. But what if the women were just on Raw?
Yeah.
Because Raw has that extra hour, so then you can give.
You could use that extra time that you struggle to fill a lot of the time.
And then SmackDown gets like the cruiserweights or something like they used to.
They could do that.
Because, like I said, I'll get into this in the pitches thing we eventually do, maybe next week or whenever the next episode's out. Sorry.
2 weeks. 2 weeks time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun with this. We might actually just change it to a week.
Yeah. But, we'll see what happens.
I don't think there is any way, shape, or form that WWE should not have a split brand. because they've just got too many people that would just not get any time, and it would suck. I think they need the split brands, and they're just not doing it the right way. I think there's smarter ways they could do it, but like I said, I'll get into that.
They need the split brand, but they need to go back to the fully split thing.
Kind of, but I will get into that.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. I really want to talk about this.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway,
yeah,
let's move
this did
on.
feel like it was missing something, but yeah, main event.
I do want to say just before we move on.
Yeah,
Ripley and Asuka, it was missing something, but it wasn't a bad match.
No, and by God, okay. So Charlotte comes back the next night and moan. She cuts a really good promo about not being on WrestleMania. She turns heel.
Yeah,
obviously she does, because she doesn't work as a face at the moment because she's too overexposed. But then Rhea Ripley and Asuka have a rematch, and she comes down and just attacks them both.
Yes.
Cool. Charlotte does not win. Charlotte should not win. She should elevate Rhea Ripley. Leave the title alone. She needs a break from the title. Maybe actually team her up with... Okay. One thing really quick.
Go on.
If Tessa Blanchard does come to WWE, she teams with Charlotte Flair. Because that would be sick.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Especially if it happens this year. If it happens this year, the way you do it is you'd make them the tag champions. And then going into Mania next year, they both go for the women's title. As in, something happens where they go from being partners to in a rivalry.
Royal Rumble. That happens at Rumble.
And
that happens at Rumble. So, like, say that Blanchard, like, one of them turns on the other and eliminates them, but they also get eliminated. I wouldn't put... it depends how well the angle actually goes over, but I wouldn't necessarily put them in a title match if the angle doesn't work too well. It could just be a blow-off feud thing, but yeah. Let's talk about Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge, because, boy, this was a great match.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I want to say, I really do want to break down this match quite a bit, because I think there's a lot to discuss. I went into this match wanting Edge to win. I still, to a degree, think Edge should have won because of what it would have meant moment-wise. Being the exact 10 years to the day that he had to announce his retirement and give up the title that he never lost. However, because of the way that Roman won this match, it works.
I honestly, it was one of those where I couldn't decide. I really couldn't decide what was going to happen or who I wanted to win. Like, I wanted Bryan to win because I love Daniel Bryan, and I think one more run would be great for him. I didn't particularly want Edge to win, but I'd understand if he did. And I kind of want Roman to just hold it until next WrestleMania.
I know that for you, because you said it on the first episode, that it's not that you necessarily don't want Edge to be there. You just feel like he hasn't earned it yet.
Yeah, I think people are being a bit hypocritical because when Batista did the same thing, they booed him out of the building.
Yeah.
I get Edge has a big return and stuff like that, but that was a year ago.
I do also think that Edge's return means something different because of the circumstances surrounding it.
Sure. It absolutely does. But I don't think coming back from an injury necessarily means that you should win a title.
No, but what about when you never lost the belt in the first place?
Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Tommaso Ciampa. It doesn't matter.
True.
Doesn't matter. But no, this was an incredible match. I think it was incredibly smart. Especially in the beginning where they all head outside and Jey Uso just kicks the shit out of both of them. I thought that was really clever. Yeah. I thought that was great because they were like, "Oh, it's no DQ."
And then Uso eats the DDT on the steps.
Yep.
And I genuinely believed that was the last time we were going to see him in the match. I thought, are they really going to play this out as a proper...
I thought they were like, oh, okay, cool. It's going to have to be Roman fighting for this now,
Yeah. One thing I want to say is every single guy in this match looked like a star. Edge had his moments, which made him... Yeah. I think the thing they've done really well with Edge is in this run, in him becoming the rated R superstar again, because that is what he is now. Let's be clear. They've made people who don't know Edge realize what Edge is about and realize how good he is.
The other thing I think they did really clever is everyone was a heel to some degree in this match.
Yeah.
Like even Daniel Bryan, when it got to the end and Daniel Bryan was just stomping on Edge's neck, and he was like, "Okay, you got a bad neck, have you?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It was only 20 minutes long. So good.
I do think it's one of these things where anyone could have won.
Yeah.
I think Bryan winning would have made the least sense.
To a degree. Sure. To be honest, I don't think anyone but Roman holding the title right now, except for Kevin Owens in that last man standing match when he got tied up. I think they should have just called that.
Yeah. So I honestly don't think anyone should hold it. Concern about this match and the way it played out is yet again, with these three guys, I now don't know where you go. And part of it is because the way they built up the match in the first place.
So,
like, they built up this match like Roman was going to lose. To a degree.
Kind of, yeah.
Because they kind of stacked the odds against him.
Yeah.
They built it up to a degree like he was going to lose. He obviously won. The way he won was emphatic. So now it's like, okay, who can challenge Roman? Do you go down the route of giving Edge the one-on-one match, which is what should have probably happened?
I don't think so.
Or what route do you go down? Do you now go to Edge versus Bryan?
No, I don't think so either.
What do you do?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Bryan and Edge have a feud after this.
Okay.
Which would be cool. I don't want Edge or Bryan, honestly. I don't want rematches. I don't want to see the same match again and again and again. So I don't want to see that. I want to see them go to the back of the line and start again. Because this was something that annoyed me about Monday Night Raw. Is there was a lot of talk of Drew losing and having to go to the back of the line and blah, 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 blah. And then by the end of the night, he's a number one contender again.
Yeah, I still do think that if you're going to do a rematch of some sort, you can get away with the Edge versus Roman one-on-one.
I don't think you can, though. Because you haven't had it. No. I don't think you can. Because he pinned both of them.
Oh, true.
If it was he pinned one of them, I think you could then. It's like, well, I didn't get pinned.
Yeah.
But he pinned both of them.
So where do you think they go for
just
Roman?
On that really quickly, I hate online. They're like, well, technically, Edge pinned Bryan because he was on blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut the fuck up.
No, that's not how it works.
Shut up. Like, even like the referee, like credit to it, the referee and Adam Pearce, whatever the hell his name
Adam
is.
Pearce,
both came out online in character and were like, well, no, this. So I really hope they don't play on that because it'll be shit.
Also, is it just me? Where the hell is Jimmy Uso?
He's injured. So
he's still injured?
No, so he's about ready to come back from the sounds of it.
Okay.
So my thing is, Jey Uso could be main event caliber.
Yeah, he's proved it.
I wonder if that ever happens. And I wonder if they do a Jimmy versus Jey to get him out of the funk sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
And then maybe they do a triple threat like bloodline match or something like that. Because that would be kind of cool.
Would be cool.
Like have proper family and fighting.
I really don't know because, like I said, my concern is I think that these three who were in this main event are probably now your top three on SmackDown, especially if Edge is going to be someone who's there every week, or at least.
I don't think Edge is going to be stuck to one brand.
You don't think so?
So he's. He said he wants to do stuff with NXT.
Yeah.
Also, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he goes down there.
I do want to add something to it though.
Maybe tonight.
They released a WWE Chronicle about Edge. Between night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania.
Oh, I missed that.
And if you watch that, it's about 40 minutes long. And one of the things Edge says in it is the reason he's on SmackDown is because SmackDown always felt more like Edge's home.
I mean, yeah, he was one of the SmackDown 6 back in the day.
So I wonder if they want, if he's not going to NXT, which is somewhere that Edge has publicly said he wants to go and he wants to do things. That's known, that's not speculation. If they don't allow him to go to NXT because they want to leave him on one of the main shows, I am assuming he would stay on SmackDown.
I would also leave him on SmackDown because it's the better show at the minute.
Yeah.
Raw is trash.
Yeah.
Raw is absolute garbage at the minute.
But this is my thing: is assuming that these three guys are your main three for at least the next 6 months. Because I still think Brian's probably gonna leave.
Yeah, I mean, he's talked about retiring late.
He's either going to retire or he's going to leave and go somewhere that will give him a lighter schedule. So that
he's becoming a producer backstage.
Is he?
For WWE? So it does sound like he's going to get that lighter schedule with them.
Okay.
And he's also said like he's probably not going to win a world title ever again because he doesn't think he needs it either. He said the only goal he has is to put on a perfect wrestling match.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he wants to do. He doesn't care about the titles. He doesn't need it anymore.
I think Edge versus Bryan could be a really interesting.
I do as well.
Direction to go.
I do because that is someone that Edge was like, yeah, this is one of the guys.
Because the thing about that direction is they've planted the seeds by the way that they built up this match, right?
Yeah.
By the way that they built up this main event of WrestleMania. They planted the seeds of Edge versus Bryan. I just don't know who would be heel in that storyline.
I don't think you need one to be heel.
No, not necessarily.
It would just take not terrible writing to do it. And I think they can do it. Yeah. And I think if there's two people that can do it, it's Bryan and Edge.
Yeah.
So I think they can just work on the dynamic they have.
I think this is the thing is going back to Edge for a second. I think that what this main event did was it proved that Edge is still as good as he was.
I don't think he's as good as he was, but he is still very good. He's still very good. Just in the simple fact he's older. That's literally it.
He is older.
He is a bit older, so he can't necessarily. I think there's a reason this is a triple threat. Yeah. To take some of the weight off of him a bit.
Yeah. True. But then there was.
But I don't think he's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think he is still fantastic.
But I think I suppose the better way of putting it is I think this match kind of proved the doubters wrong, right?
Yeah,
because I think some people were seeing Edge as, oh, he's just the kind of old guy who's come back again, like Batista or like Goldberg, and it's not that, right?
No.
It's definitely not that.
I am gutted that we're not going to get an Edge and Christian tag team run though.
Yeah, I know.
Because that is something he said he wanted to do as well.
So I think, I'm really intrigued. I'm really intrigued to see where they go because I still think that at some point, Edge should have that belt again.
No.
You don't think he should?
No, not at all. When you've got someone like Big E right there,
just because he doesn't need it doesn't mean he shouldn't have it.
But he shouldn't have it. He's at that stage like Bryan is where it does nothing for anybody.
Does it not do something for someone to then beat him for the belt?
No.
Do you not think so?
The more important thing right now is beating Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing with Walter. That's why the UK title,
but I suppose
that's why the UK title is bigger.
I suppose I'm thinking longer term, right? Because I don't see how much longer Roman's going to be champion.
I genuinely think it's going to be until next Mania.
Really?
Yeah, I think he can hold it for a long time. Like I said, the only time I think he should have dropped it was Kevin Owens.
Do you not think they've got the danger of burning out fans on it?
No. I think they can, but Roman Reigns is with Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman is very, very smart. And to his credit, so is Roman Reigns. He has done this so perfectly.
Yeah.
The only fuck up, I think, was when he got stuck on that 10 count.
Yeah, and that was.
And I genuinely think that was just a mistake. That just happens. It was a fuck up. I think it was clever that he pulled the referee and knocked him out, but I really think they should have just called it audible there because they had another match after that anyway.
Yeah,
I think they should have just called it and had Reigns drop the belt then, but then just get it back to next month because it shouldn't have happened. But I want them to make Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar, but see him every week. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we never see Brock Lesnar or we don't see him for a long time. Roman Reigns should be the final boss of WWE now.
I get it. My concern is if they have Reigns hold the title that long, it's because they want to do Reigns versus Rock. And I don't think Reigns versus Rock is fine.
Maybe
Reigns versus Rock is fine story-wise, because I do think long-term that's what they're leading to.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I heard
of
that.
Reigns thinks he's the best in the family, and he thinks that all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff they can do with it.
I would actually put that at SummerSlam.
But Reigns versus Rock does not need a belt.
No, not at all. It is just that I want Big E to beat him at WrestleMania.
I just don't see
and
it
makes
happening.
sense.
I would love it to.
Because Big E winning the Royal Rumble just makes sense.
Yeah. But also, this is the crazy thing about wrestling, right? Is
maybe it's another triple threat.
We say that now, but by the time the Royal Rumble comes around, for all we know, we might be saying that Sami Zayn should win the Royal Rumble,
or like Damian Priest, or whoever, Adam Cole, like someone else pops up.
And that's the crazy thing about wrestling, is it can literally change on a dime.
Yeah. I do think Big E is probably going to be the one to take it.
Really, you have that much confidence? Wow. Okay.
You know what I would love?
Go on.
Big E does get in that match. Sami Zayn cashes in his Money in the Bank and takes it.
Oh.
And then you get Big E and Sami Zayn.
Can you imagine? I
don't think Edge or Bryan are going to win it. I don't think Edge is going to win any title.
It depends how long Roman has the belt. I don't agree with you. I think Edge will have the title again before he retires. Because I think that if they use Edge in the right way, especially if Edge is there all the time, if he's there putting in the work, and he's doing the thing, if he's not just the part-timer Brock Lesnar, and he is there every week or nearly every week.
I think the thing that holds me back on thinking that is this is also the guy that said no to breaking Taker's streak. Yeah. I really don't think Edge is that self-centered that he
I agree, but I also think he knows that someone winning the title from him does a lot.
I honestly do not think in any way, shape or form someone beating Edge for the title means more than someone beating Roman Reigns for the title.
Even if it's Edge's last match?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Really?
Yep. It does. It's like whoever beats Walter for the WWE, the UK title.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big deal because Walter seemed unbeatable.
Because it's a long reign and it's all
that.
Yeah.
Like, it's prestigious because people have come close, Ciampa included.
But I suppose that's what I mean is like, I just don't see. I don't think there's enough story you can do with Edge over a 3-year period, which is the rumor of his contract. Without having a title on him at some point.
Oh no, there absolutely is. Absolutely is. There's so many people he wants to work with.
Yeah.
And especially if he does get his time in NXT like he wants.
Yeah.
I don't. And like, look at it opposite ways. Sami Zayn has only won an Intercontinental title and he's been on the main roster for like 5 years. There's loads of things you could do with people.
But Sami Zayn also went very quiet for a
He did. But there was a lot that was good about what he did. Like, you don't need, like, as great as having the world title is or the universal title is, it doesn't make you.
No, I don't think it does. But I do think that certain people earn the right to have it, and certain circumstances earn the right to have it.
I think if Edge wins the Universal Championship, all it does is hurt that championship.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think Edge should be anywhere near the title. I think that match is it. I think that's the closest he should be.
Okay.
Because with WWE, they rely too much on older people. And we're starting to see it a little bit with AEW. We need to move away from that and be like, no, these people are going to actually carry it. I don't want to see Edge win it 1 month to lose it the next.
I get that. But I'm not saying that Edge would win it 1 month to lose it the next.
I just think he's past his time to win it.
Okay.
I think
Interesting.
they're
I
with
think
the
it
talent that
depends how
WWE
long.
have.
For me, it's that thing of I think it depends how long and how often he shows up.
Yeah,
So if he is
and
going to be there for
and
3
which version
years,
of him?
yeah,
Because if it's face Edge, no way in hell. If it's heel Edge, maybe,
yeah.
because heel Edge is way better.
But this is the thing: is like in my head, I just think to myself that I agree with you about the point of over reliance on older stars. I think that's a really strong point. But I do think it's a different case if he's literally there wrestling on the shows every single week.
Sure. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. I just don't want them to. I don't think they should.
Yeah.
Because it's the Daniel Bryan thing. Daniel Bryan is there. It's like, no, I've had
But
my time. It's other people's.
Even Daniel Bryan, though, after coming out of retirement, did win the belt again. Even
Yeah,
back
but he
then, he
wasn't
never
40.
needed to win the belt again.
No, he wasn't 50 though. Edge is pushing 50.
Is he?
Yeah, he's like 47.
Yeah, true.
Edge doesn't need it.
Edge doesn't need it.
I mean, to be fair, no one needs it.
That's not what I'm
But
saying.
like,
yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me to have someone like Roman Reigns pushing it forward, having someone like Big E, having people like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, all these incredible people working. Like Cesaro feels like he's being built for something. Seth Rollins is there.
Yeah.
There are so many other people.
I mean, I'd hazard a guess they're gonna drop the ball on Cesaro again. But
I expect so, but I hope not. I really hope that this is something different. I don't know. Maybe he drops it to Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Edge versus Seth Rollins. I think that'd be cool.
If I had to make a guess about what happens with Edge,
I would honestly make him feud based. I would just have him fight whoever he wants to fight.
So I think there's a couple of interesting things you could do, right, with Edge. I think heel Edge is more interesting.
100%.
Because I think face Edge is fine, and he needed to be face when he first came back. He had to.
Well, yeah, there was no way he couldn't be. Yeah.
And he needed to be face to a degree going into this main event as well. But if you use this main event to turn him heel, and you have proper heel Edge from like 2009, 2010, I think that then you do open the door to, okay, maybe he can carry this show. If he's here every week, maybe he can carry this show, and there can be something that comes out of it. Because I think of something like, if maybe it becomes a thing of the way that I don't know if I would do it this way, but I could see them doing it this way. Maybe he does fight Roman again, right? Maybe he gets the one-on-one with Roman and he doesn't win, and that's what makes him snap, because he's like, maybe that's what gives it the final snap of turning heel.
I do not see a reality where Roman Reigns gets taken down by Edge.
No, and this is my thing.
That's why I don't think Edge would, like, even especially if Roman is the champion. I don't see Edge winning the championship from Roman Reigns.
No.
I'm not, like I said, I think the only people that can is someone like Seth Rollins, maybe Cesaro if they do it right.
But the funny thing is, Roman is the only one that I don't see Edge winning the belt from. If anyone else is the champion, I think he could.
Maybe, but I still wouldn't do it. I think it's more important at this stage to do the Shawn Michaels thing.
Yeah.
And just tell great stories.
Have
his Undertaker story, have stuff like that.
I have it in my head that the way Edge, to me, should retire by, he should almost do the Ric Flair thing, right? Where, and I'm not saying they would start this off now, but it should almost be the Ric Flair thing of, he wins the belt or something, and then he says, next time I lose, I'm going to retire. Because the person who makes him retire in a storyline sense by winning that match or winning that belt off him, one, winning the belt can make someone, so the belt does add something. I don't agree when people say the belt adds nothing to a story, because it does. I think, depending on what you're doing with it.
There are stories that deserve to be for a championship, but I don't think putting a title in like the Goldberg stuff.
Yeah, it didn't need the belt, right?
That did nothing. Yeah.
But I just think something like, if you want to make one of the biggest heels in the world, what you do is the same as what you really did with Brock Lesnar by having him beat Undertaker's streak. Because Undertaker's streak was essentially a championship without being a championship.
Mm.
And breaking that streak made one of the biggest heels in wrestling.
So I get what you mean, but I think you could do that just as well without a title.
True. Good point.
I don't think retiring Edge needs a title.
No.
At all.
No. Because however it happens and however they do it, people are still going to be upset.
I don't even want Edge to win like the IC title.
Wow.
I don't want Edge to win anything at this point. I want him to be character focused. I want him to do, like I said, the Shawn Michaels stuff.
That. I just don't. I suppose in a weird way, I just don't know how. And I'm sure they'll do some builds to stuff and everything like that. It's just hard to see, because Edge's motivation outside of the Randy Orton storyline, which made sense when he first came back, right? Edge's motivation has been getting back the belt that he never lost. And I don't
Okay,
know
hold on. Sorry. That line, I heard it yesterday and it really annoyed me because I'm like, that's not the belt he never lost.
No, because they've changed the championship.
Yeah, that belt doesn't exist anymore. But sure. It's a tiny thing, but it really annoyed me because I'm like, you can't just pick and choose when you're going to make that mean a thing. That's not the same belt. If anything, that's the WWE belt.
Yeah,
because the world heavyweight, it was the world heavyweight title. But yeah, 100%. I don't think he. I just don't think he needs a belt.
I just wonder how they get him away from that motivation, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I think it's done.
Really,
I honestly think I think they could do that and just do it. I think Edge now, say he has a feud with like Adam Cole or something, I think that feud means more.
I think
than if there was a title involved.
I do agree with you. I think that if he gets his wish to go to NXT, he never needs a belt.
I really don't think he needs a belt anyway. Regardless.
But if he's on main roster, I just don't know. My thing is, I don't know how they get him away from that motivation, because
they never should. As a wrestler, they never should.
Yeah.
Because as a wrestler, if you're doing that and you don't want to win the big belt, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Granted, Chris Jericho was like, I only want to win the IC belt sort of thing, but he was being a bit more realistic.
But that's kind of my thing, is like, because if you go the other way, if Edge is now going to be one of your top guys, because you plan to have him round on a semi-regular basis, more regular than Brock Lesnar, but not necessarily every single week having an actual match. If you're planning for him to be one of your top guys, you can't just have him have the random kind of challenge for the title but never actually win it, can you? Because then that
because I wouldn't even have him challenge for the title.
Wow.
I would have him in feuds again, say like with Adam Cole, because that's one that's been brought up. Where the winner can get a title shot or something like that, or he keeps getting close.
But does that not then diminish his effect over time?
No, nothing could diminish effect Edge. Like nothing right now.
Yeah, true.
It's like the Undertaker. The Undertaker has been shit since CM Punk's match.
Yeah.
Like Brock Lesnar's match was big, but it wasn't good.
But the second the Undertaker lost that streak, it did diminish his effect.
No, it didn't.
You don't think so?
No. It was a terrible match. It was more the impact. The thing that diminished it was we shouldn't have seen him again after that match.
Yeah.
The thing that diminished it is that he was older, he was broken.
True.
He just couldn't go like he used to. That's what diminished it. I mean, was overstaying his welcome.
Don't you think it made his matches mean less, though? Not having the streak.
Well, yeah, of course it did, but it is also that he should have just left.
Yeah.
True, I will take the Roman Reigns thing. He should have that should have been the absolute limit, because that match was atrocious.
Yeah.
Taker should have just walked away. I get he wanted to keep coming back and help Vince and stuff like that, but he should have just gone. Should have just left with losing the streak.
Anyway,
But
talking about WrestleMania
on the
and
whole,
streaks and all that stuff,
I think all of this was very good.
This was great
overall. I think I benefited because I didn't watch the Nia Jax Max. But on the whole, this was very, very good. I think night one was stronger.
This kind of.
I think night one was stronger overall because it didn't have
I don't think
the weird
night
finish
one,
between Biggie.
So I'll put it this way. I don't think night one hit the heights of night two.
I think the only match that sure, it didn't hit the heights that night two did, but it also didn't hit the lows that night two did.
No, and that's what
because the Fiend stuff was bad, the Nia Jax stuff was Nia Jax. Apollo and Biggie was great, but the ending was a bit meh. Just like the last one.
Night one was kind of consistently good and fun.
Yeah.
But only one potentially great match.
Yeah.
Whereas night
two, Cesaro and Shane.
Yeah, true.
Seth as well.
Whereas night two, you had, we had
it was a bit more blockbuster.
We had the Sheamus Riddle, that was great.
That was We
Kevin
had the
Owens, main event, Zayn. Great.
Apollo and Biggie was very good, but it was the ending.
But then it's the lower points are lower, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem.
But overall, this was great. It's a shame Raw was terrible.
Yeah, it's great. Monday Night Raw was terrible.
It was bad. We got the Viking Raiders back though, which was good. Yeah. I like the Viking Raiders. They're fantastic.
Yet again, WWE delivered a WrestleMania
they
when
are,
we didn't expect them to.
Just one quick note: they are putting the Hurt Business back together.
Are they?
Yeah, but it's with T-Bar and whatever the fuck the other
guy's yes.
And my God, please just take off the masks and go back to being Dijakovic and whatever the other guy's name is, because I think they could be a really good tag team. But God, just let him be Dijakovic.
So yeah, really, really good WrestleMania. Reaffirmed that wrestling with a crowd makes so much difference.
Yeah, 100%.
Just to the feeling of everything, even because it makes you care about matches that you wouldn't necessarily care about. And I think it's funny because people give the crowd shit a lot of the time when we're watching on TV because it's like, oh, why do you do all these dumb chants and stuff? But those dumb chants are part of what make the product.
Yeah, and like when they're actually invested, it's great.
Yeah,
like it's second to none. Like the Daniel Bryan stuff was fantastic.
Great WrestleMania. I look forward to where they're gonna go.
I'm looking forward to SmackDown.
Recording before SmackDown.
And NXT.
I think SmackDown and NXT it'll be exciting to see where they go. You may get an episode next week. We haven't really decided. If something massive happens, we will cover it in some way. If there's a debut on SmackDown or a debut on NXT, I'm sure we will cover it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we are going to be, as we said in the first episode, it's going to be a little bit more topic based. So we're probably going to do some sort of fantasy booking / fixing the roster in the next episode.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I think that'll be fun. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you tell your friends. As I said, we're not a news wrestling show here, so it's a bit different than the other wrestling content that's out there, but we don't want to step on people's toes. This is just a platform for discussion.
It's just two guys that really like wrestling that wanted to chat about wrestling and like podcasting. Do let us know what you thought about WrestleMania. What was your favorite match? What was your favorite match, Jordan?
My favorite match would be between the
main event.
It would be between the night 2 main event. Or it's weird. The more I think about it, Sheamus and Riddle is up there.
It's very good.
Sheamus and Riddle is really very up good. There.
But it's tough.
But yeah, it's a real tough one. I think from night 2, I would have to say the main event.
Yeah.
From night 1, the most fun that I had was Strowman versus Shane.
Yeah, weirdly, yeah.
In the cage match.
Yeah.
So those are the two that really stick out to me, and I think that will live in my memory for a long time when I think about this WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But obviously the moment of the main event on night 1 was massive, as we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Let us know what your favorite was. Let us know where you'd like things to go. Do you think the Edge should win the championship or any championship for that matter? I think that's an interesting question. And if you're down for more of this content, we have 2 words for you. Luke, what are those 2 words?
Please subscribe.
And we will see you next time.
Yes,
Goodbye.